But I wouldn't call it savvy. I'm just kind of anal when it comes to the audio. I want it to be, legit.
No, no doubt. It was funny because today there was a guy in getting the shit done for. They went from an IP address, they changed IP addresses or something like that at school today, and this guy was rattled with the system in the weight room because it's like kind of a big deal right now. They tore the floor out. It's a shit show at the weight room. It'll be good in like a day and a half, but they had audio guys in there. It was nightmare fuel.
Are they getting
And
those
I
floors fixed up?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They tore the old floor out, and then they got here Wednesday, and they'll be done maybe tomorrow if they push through tomorrow or early Wednesday. The group that did it originally was it took them 5 weeks. These guys are here like 10 days,
Son of
like
a
nine
bitch.
days.
Let's
It,
go.
it's yeah, and the logos are crispy. Oh,
Yo, Sornex really did a number with that little reel they put on there.
oh,
That of
that's my boy. That's my dude from Granville. Yeah, no, that guy Tully. His name's Tully Chapman. He's a fucking pimp, dude. No, seriously, he's this fucking like little dude that's strapped up, and he's like all about Olympic lifting, CrossFit, and all that. I'm like, hey man, pump the brakes, fuck all that. Like, let's just do some real shit here. It was sweet. He's such a good dude. He got out of it and wanted to do video shit. So it'd be like Tyler Geiger, outside guy coming into Chelsea to be a strength coach. So they paid him like a 1099,
yeah.
and he got over it because he had a kid, and he's like, dude, I gotta make money. And so he went into this video thing, and it's taken off. He called Sornex because we're tight with a few guys, him and I are, and he's like, hey, do you have anybody to videograph for like stuff up here? And they're like, no, we've got all these jobs and we can't send these video guys everywhere. He's like, well, do you mind like subbing me out, And I'm like, yeah, he's been all over like the 5 states, just all their new rooms. Like he videoed that guy like in I bet he did that the first part of May.
Yeah. That's a
And it
that's a
just
good that's a good gig, man. Like I just had my buddy Joel on. His episode came out well, today's Monday the 14th, so it came out today. And
I
I'm
didn't
like, "Yo,
see it.
it's all good." I was like, "Yo, do you have it?" Because I try to get a picture from everybody to do like a cover photo to promote the podcast.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have like a lot of like, you know, pictures taken off like an actual real camera. Everything's kind of iPhone and the quality's a little bit lower.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, but he's like, there's this guy. He's like, when I'm working downtown in Nashville, he's a cop. He's like, when we're
Yeah.
working downtown, there's this group of dudes that have like professional fucking like Sony cameras, and they'll walk around and they'll just start taking pictures of random drunk people on Broadway and making videos,
Oh,
and then they'll show them like all these like, they're not edited or anything, but you take a picture off a, $3,000 camera opposed to an iPhone, you can tell the difference.
it's crispy.
So
Yeah.
they're always like, hey, here's the Venmo, I'll send you the stuff. And they like took videos of, dude, I gotta show you this fucking video. We're gonna do our own version of podcasting today. This is like Barstool funny. This guy took a video of the cops, and then
Oh,
dude, in the freaking song that they play is classic. I'm gonna show
so
you
this is
this.
let me understand. So you were like this guy's somewhere downtown Nashville, and he's just walking around with some hot camera, like it's legit.
Yeah, and then he'll go up to people
Whatever he
after he
gets.
gets whatever he gets, and they'll be like, "Yeah, we need that," and he'll be like, "All right, hit the Venmo, and I'll send it to you." But it's like high quality, like good, like slow mo video. I'm gonna move my mic so you can hear the song, but also watch this. Can you see that pretty decently?
Oh shit, that's the
It's
cops.
it's not terrible. Watch this video. It's fucking hilarious,
Oh no.
dude. Come on, look at this slow mo.
Old
That's my
boy's all strapped up too. Got
that's
him
my
up.
that's my buddy, and then some drunk broad comes out of the woodwork.
Slow mo. It's so good.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, and he's got Bruce in the background.
Let's go.
Electric.
So funny, man.
That's
Uh,
sweet.
But there's a business for that. That's what I'm trying to tell you is that like these content creators, they can just go around. You see it on the internet all the time. They'll just roll up on people like a skateboarder and be like, "Hey,
Yep.
can I take some video of you?" Boom, done. Make it all fancy and shit, and then they get paid. So
It's interesting how like schools it's like a no brainer, right? Like it's gone from like let's take a picture at Wayne Walton Field of the team, and then an individual with Tyler Geiger with his bat and his stance, whatever. Fuck it. Anyway, my point is like it's changed from that to in like a poster at the field, like of all the seniors and stuff. It's gone from all of that, which is still there, but to now this guy that I was telling you about that did our video. Now he's doing like videos of Tyler Geiger as a senior, and he
Yeah.
might be like, in the uniform, puffed up, whatever, and that he's killing it on that. I think he's killing it. I know he's just getting started, but like, if there's a market for that, like you said, like not only with like people like Sornex and shit like that, but like there's like these schools are paying him. I mean, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know, because the latest one, because he started an LLC, which was smart. So the one that he ripped today, put up today, was like some like freak show from Ferris State. He's like a D lineman, that like legit freak show, and it's just promoting him so it gets out there, right? I mean, that guy might get drafted like the guy did last year from Ferris, the MVP of the Division II. He won the Heisman of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He just had a sack. He just had a sack the other night from Tennessee. That's what it was. Anyway, I got like a list of stuff right here. I was like making notes, paper towel, just
hell
dirt.
yeah. I love it. I love it. I wanna jump in real quick because I actually didn't have any questions apart from like one when I was driving earlier. I was curious what you thought about this, and it kind of leads right into it. And I'm trying to word it correctly, but do you think it's easier to get recruited now than it was like back in the day when you were fucking playing? Just with social media and all the footage you can get and just the connections and just there's so much shit out there, man, for these young players that the camps and everything.
It's a great question. Do I think it's easier? I think it might be just different, right? I think that's a piece now, don't
Yeah.
you? It's
Oh yeah.
but I don't know if it's easier because I think that doesn't that dilute the whole thing? Doesn't that dilute, like, how does Tyler Geiger, this receivers coach from MSU, how does he like siphon through all of this jazz? Maybe I don't know. I think that it's a piece, and I think that it can also like gut you on that. Like if you put something on there like you at a party acting the fool, or or whatever. I'm at the
Yeah.
lake and there's Yeti cups, and I'm the receivers coach at, like I said, like MSU as an example, or whatever school you put the name in, and I see Geig with a Yeti cup. Well, okay, I don't really need to put two and two together.
Sure.
So because if you're doing your job, aren't you going to look for stuff like that? Like, hey, what kind of dude is this guy or girl? Either way.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think you can get stuff out there, but do they have to filter through a ton of shit? But then aren't they looking at exactly who they want to? I don't know.
And then
I
it's
don't
a
know. I know
thing.
this. Go ahead.
No, then it's one of those things where you have those old photos that you're getting in, that can kind of hem you up, or those old tweets from frickin' sophomore year of high school. Those never get fucking brought up until you're
No,
fixing to either sign a letter to commit or you're fixing to get drafted, right? I mean, you see it all the time.
if somebody retweets it, or all of a sudden it mysteriously shows up somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah,
Not
someone
even
saying
by you.
something. Yeah, someone saying something that you could have said, 10 years ago that would have flew, but now it won't, and now you're
I
hemmed.
think I think video now is definitely like really helps kids. Because I'll give you an example. Like my son, like I texted Coach Walton, so whatever it was, almost 3 years ago now. I texted Coach Walton. I said, "Hey, where does Joe fit?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. I can't go watch him because I can't recruit and all that stuff." So I sent it to him, and then he's like, "Oh shit!" And then he sent it to Coach Bakich, and he's like, "This little dude can rake, man." And then from that, it provided an opportunity. So like video, to your point, was it on social media? I don't know. I mean, ain't nobody following him at that point. So,
Sure.
but that video gives you opportunity because coaches can't be everywhere, right? And I think it was one of the things I got on here, like travel sports. I even put it on here, right? Because it's from when like you and T Stark and like Bag and all, like you guys, like it's like so different and so diluted now. So, anyways, we'll get to that. But anyway, it's a great question. I think it can help and hurt, and I think it can be easier, but it also can detract because there's so much of it.
Cool. Yeah, I think so too. I think pros and cons, probably like anything, but well, I'm glad you came prepared, brother, and brought a list because I sure as hell didn't.
No,
I wrote down podcast with A.T. That's what I got. So, you guys listening,
I just know the last time we did this, it was like all over the map, and it was like the best because it was
th-
like
that's how
we
I
went
want to
from
do it. That's how I want to do it again. Yeah. So, you
it
guys
was,
listening,
you're all right.
I was gonna ask you, are we allowed to drink on here?
Well, it's summertime and it's after noon, so we're good. Yeah, yeah. So
There we go.
we'll
Cool.
hang out for a minute.
So
I'm not as
technically,
professional as BP. I've
no,
been around too long. That guy's so professional that I don't want to like. I'm a degenerate, right? Hillbilly.
well, I've been trying to
Um,
tell people on here that like I am too. They see one side of me, but like deep down to the core, I like to have fun every now and then, man. Like, shame in this game over here. I work hard.
you and I've seen each other twice in the past 12 months, so I figured the second time we got to have a beer, right?
Absolutely. But here, so this AT, this is technically number 101. If you really want to do the
All
math,
going back.
if
Going
you
back.
really want to do the math, you guys, I've done this. Welcome to episode 100. This is Adam Taylor. But dude, we were like a couple months into the podcast and I interviewed you. You were like number like
Was it only a
12.
month or two?
Yeah, you were
Was it,
like number 12.
it was awesome.
And
That was,
we lost the entire podcast, like 90 minutes of pure gold. And I'm
yeah.
getting all these like, man, what are you fixing to do for number 100? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, apparently this is a big deal. I was like, I got the perfect guy to get on for number 100.
Go.
So,
Let's
man,
go.
I appreciate you. For those of you who don't know, AT, he's my old strength coach, baseball coach, uh, pretty much best friend, second dad, whatever you want to call it. We've
Kind of
stayed in
grew up
touch.
together. Me and
Exact,
teaching, and you as a young man, right?
exactly, man. Yeah. So I really appreciate you being here. This means a lot to me, dude. This one's for us. There's probably not going to be like any fucking, life lessons on this podcast. We're just going to have a couple beers and kick the can, but I'm looking
You've
forward
had
to
some,
it.
yeah, it might be a change up for the guys, people that listen, because you've had some like electric people, and starting with BP, and not to take away from any of the outdoors like savages that you've had, but like BP's like, dude, he's like you, man, salt of the earth, right? I mean, damn,
You want to know something crazy about that is that he's my most downloaded podcast ever.
he's a dude, man. That
Isn't
guy,
that crazy?
yeah. Hey, get him going talking about Harbaugh, about John, and it's look out. When
Yeah.
he was, like, what did he do, GA there or whatever? He was an assistant, but God, when he gets going on that, it's like just life lesson after life lesson, and just yeah, you
We don't
understand it's a business in a hurry. That guy's VP though; he's a man.
He is, man. That was a really cool conversation because I hadn't talked to him in like shit since school, and then I just reached out to him
Oh,
because he's training dudes and he works at Power
it
Strength.
was that
Like
long, guy.
I haven't talked to him like legit. I freaking slid in his DMs like I do everybody. I was like, "Yo, brother, you want to do a podcast? I like what you're doing," and he was like all about it. And his people like downloaded the heck out of it. So he sent me a bunch of shit. I got to send him out some stuff. I'm sure he'll listen to this along with everybody else where we're from. But yeah,
Hey,
he's
I'll tell you
good
this.
dude, man.
Here's the deal about BP. That guy, like, yeah, he's been, GV and then with the Ravens and all that stuff. That guy's like self-made, right? Like, I don't know how deep he is as far as ownership and all that stuff. That doesn't matter. Point being is like that guy like cares about kids and like kind of like all of us, like, well, especially me, you just don't want anybody to not max out everything they got before they run out of time to play whatever they're playing, right? Male,
Yes.
female, whatever sport. So like that's where like at the roots of that thing, like that guy, that when you get people that just care, just want you to do max it out, your potential, sweet, because it's grassroots, man. You
Absolutely.
got relationships and all that stuff, and that's at the foundation. It's pretty cool. So
And he like I see the way he does stuff. I've never seen him like coach in person. I'm sure you have and whatnot, but like when I see
I
his
had
stuff, you haven't?
I need to get up there and like observe this guy.
Yeah, for real. Well, you're probably gonna like what you see because I think he's modeled a lot of his game after yours. I see how he talks in the gym. He's always playing loud, fucking Slipknot or whatever the district will
Oh
let you get away with. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
oh yeah.
um, I mean,
He's
that's
so
where.
smart too, though. Guy,
Oh, he's so
he's
smart.
so smart. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, dude, there's no cutting off. You're just as much a host on this thing now as I am, so we're good.
What what I was talking to D Sus about him, and I think that they went up there, the crew went up there and just kind of hung out and just kind of rekindled it. They do that about twice a year, so it's kind of cool, right? I mean, whatever. GR is a good place, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, you got those group. Like, I would love to see dudes like Yordi, LTK, BP, Cal, Chuck Hess. I know I'm missing a bunch of dudes that I just
Oh
haven't
yeah,
seen in for so long. It was nice to kind of see the guys in my grade when I was home last week. I got to see Bag,
yeah,
Giller, college roommate, Berman. I'm sure I'm missing a couple other guys. Stein, Jake Stein showed up.
yep.
He was episode like number 4.
That
Um,
guy's. You talk about hunters. That guy. They make that trip out there. Him and his dad every year. What they kill last year? They get a bear
no,
or
his dad went out and shot a mountain lion.
was that it? Yeah, yeah. He was the one because he. I talked to him right after I talked to your dad, and Marty was. Marty's son was just like verbatim exactly what your dad said. Like they put the collar on the dog and then they just let him go. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's a
so
fun hunt, dude. That's some cool shit.
he gave him like 3 days. His guy's like, hey, they're wild right now. Like, let's go. And he's like, are you shitting me? And he's like, no, dude, you need to get here if you want one. And he bolted like in 2 days. Got out there. So anyway,
Yeah. Have you seen Jake recently?
I saw him guy got at Michael's. It was like their like Michigan version of like a reception. Because Mike got married, so it was
Vegas, right?
their version of like a reception, which was so cool. It was at the Nock at Kavanaugh, and then because Marty and Nancy bought a house there, and they're gonna kind of renovate it and all that stuff. But there was some cool people there. Yeah, I
Was that
saw a
like a
dude.
few months ago?
Yeah, it was warm out though. It must have been end of June, maybe. It was
I'm
cool.
I'm asking you that because I saw him, dude. Like, he, in my opinion, looks as good as he's ever freaking looked. Like,
Oh,
dude is.
Michael and Jake.
No, I haven't seen Mike, but I've seen pictures of Mike. But I saw Jake. Like, I shook his hand last week. I'm like, dude, what are you
Yeah, you
like? What
forget
are
how
you?
tall he is.
I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Also, I
six
would.
pack shredded up. I'm like,
Yeah.
son.
I would tell you this though. All three of them are like they're like dudes, right? I mean, they're like put together now. Like Colin, people don't know this. Like around Chelsea, like he's in a handful of shortstops that like people would be like, no, he's not going to be the shortstop. And then all of a sudden, he's 255 in the fall, and then during basketball, he's 225, and then he's like 215 during baseball, and he's as reliable a shortstop as we've ever had. So
I think
you're
I remember
talking,
you telling me about that, and I just couldn't believe it. But
yeah.
he was
No,
nice, huh?
if you saw him, he's basically Jake. Now looks
Yeah.
exactly like him, like cut up, all that stuff. And then Michael, you go back in time, I think he lost like 80 pounds, 90 pounds from the last day of football, his last year, to whose wedding was it? I think it was Jake's first wedding.
Yeah.
And he lost like 90 pounds, dude, in
That's
like
wild.
10 months.
Those
Anyway,
dudes are those dudes genetics though. I mean, they're freaking.
it's good fan.
They could play O line if they wanted to, or they could play like an outside, like
Yeah.
and run a little bit if they wanted to.
Yeah, that's a good family. Real
Hey,
good family.
I got something for you. Like,
Yeah.
so for people who don't know, basically, I'll just introduce you real quick. You're you're a strength coach still at Chelsea High School, where I went to high school. If y'all
Yep.
remember that video of the Sornex gym I put on a couple days ago, that's our home gym. That's AT's gym, and
That's
you
there
still
because of you guys, by the way.
well, I
I'll
appreciate
interrupt
it,
you.
but
Go ahead. Go ahead.
you also coach baseball. You used to coach football a ton, but now your son plays for the University of Michigan, so you're bouncing out to his games and shit. And then you also played Double A, right, with the Indians?
Yep, that was the highest I got. Yeah, yeah. That's
Yep,
accurate. Yep.
Double A. So that's just a little background on you guys that don't know AT if you're a frequent listener of the show. But I got
Yeah.
some. So what do you like? And you're also a strength coach, so you coach everybody in the high school basically in weightlifting and all this other stuff. So what do you think? Is it refreshing to you when you see a guy maybe that you haven't seen in like 4
Hmm.
years? He's like 4 years out of school, and you see him, and you're like, man, you're doing you're staying up on it, right? You're still living the lifestyle. Does that make you feel good? Like they're still implementing shit that they used to do back in the day? Like, for
Yeah.
example, like a Jake Stein or a Mike Stein or,
Yep.
me to a certain degree. Like, and then you also, on the other hand, see somebody that done got married real quick out of school, had a couple kids, and you're like, fuck happened to you, dog? Like you just gained a quick
I
30,
don't ever.
40 on me, man. I know you wouldn't say that, but like I know you think it.
I just kind of am just glad that I saw somebody, right? And well, two things. You get old enough and you start forgetting years, and then you start forgetting names, like first names. But no, I've never been like, dude, what happened to you? Like, could you imagine? Hey, what's up, Billy? Whoa, whoa, what
Dog.
happened?
Dog.
Come on, man. No, I tell you this. This was like in passing, and you know Cal Bauer and Amber Bauer and obviously Denny Bauer's son and brother of Daryl. Um, I went to Chicago because I wanted to watch him. He was competing in a CrossFit thing, or it wasn't a sanctioned CrossFit. It was some other spinoff, but it was like pretty high level, and it was on Navy Pier. And I was there, and I was standing next to Denny, and actually Coach Bush was there because Janie was competing too. And I was standing there with a lot of people I didn't know, and I was just watching Cal and Amber, and they were competing. It was actually I think it was just Cal, maybe I can't remember. Maybe it was just Janie, but it doesn't matter. But Amber was next to me, uh, and I was just talking to her, and there was a lot of people that I didn't know because they started that CrossFit gym in Grand Rapids, Great Lakes CrossFit, and uh, and somebody asked her after I walked away. She told me this, and it was actually it was awesome. It was so humbling. She's like, somebody asked her, like, one of her friends, like, hey, who was that guy? Like, what? Like, I've never recognized him in our gym or whatever. And she's like, that's the guy. That's the reason that we're all here today. And I was like, damn. Like it just kind of it stuck with them. They got the bug of strength training. They hated it when they were in high school to some degree. Not Cal, but Amber and some of those kids. And then they got the bug, and then they were like, I'm all in on this. So like that might be probably the greatest compliment somebody's ever given. Like somebody asked them, like, who is that? And she said, he's the reason why we're all here, meaning their group, which was, man, that's like humbling. That was sweet. I don't think I've ever told anybody that actually. That was a big deal to me
It's
because
fact. It's
that's not the
facts though.
goal, right? You know what I mean? That's not the
Yeah.
goal. It's, you're just trying to build relationships, and like when you're your age or even older, you know, you just when you see somebody, you just know it's real. Like, hey, man, we were in there together, and yeah, and we loved it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I wish I could go back, right, as a former student. So anyway, that was sweet. That
Oh,
was cool.
it's facts, dude, because I see, and I'll just use me as an example. Like I wouldn't be where I'm at without going through those 4 years of us, working together and going
Well, you
through.
and I lived it together.
I
You forget
Yeah,
about
not
that.
no, I don't, no, I don't forget about that. Trust me, I don't because
That was.
oh,
There's only two guys that I've ever done that with. Two guys. It was you and Mason Bailey were the only two guys, and I was just like, listen, this guy needs to go. And whoever was your partner, I'm like, no offense to them, but you had more. And I'm like, again, it goes back to the fact I just didn't want you to leave without maxing it out, right?
yeah, no, that's
That was
facts.
terrible.
Just stop.
Corner rack in the old room, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get through this, but dude, I can't let this dude show me up. I gotta go.
The fu- It'd be like,
And it had to be
I,
squat. You knew it wasn't gonna be bench or some shit like that.
no, I remember that workout perfectly. It was like
I don't remember the reps.
it was like lower reps. Like we weren't going over 10. And next thing I know, I'm doing like we're like 23, 24, and I'm
Yeah,
dying, dude. Like I got two cakes on the bar, which isn't like a crazy amount to
but
squat,
it's enough.
but I can't squat that now. So it's like, fuck, man. Like we were grinding. And then it was your turn, and then we had to make sure the music was up loud enough so you could yell
Oh,
out
yeah.
earmuffs and then let everybody have it.
It got weird in a hurry. That's right. It did get competitive. It got real weird.
Yeah, it
Like,
did.
what are we doing right now? The good thing is nobody puked on the floor. We didn't have to get the mop out and all that.
So, for perspective, everyone listening, in high school, it was pretty serious shit. We called it advanced fitness. You all still call it that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So there was a sign in the gym, and this is verbatim, I think. if you puke, take the trash out to the dumpster.
It's the first thing that I printed in the new room. It's sitting right on the. Well, you saw it. You were there.
Dude, I
It's
know.
sitting right on the trash can. There's 5 trash cans in there. It's a sign, 9x11 or whatever. If you puke, take the bag, or take the puke out to the dumpster. It happens.
So I should just tell you everything you need to know. Like, we're not fucking playing checkers in that weight room by any stretch.
To quote T-Bone, we didn't come here to paint Easter eggs.
We're not painting nothing, dude. Jeez, oh Pete.
So good. So good.
So good. Who's the best athlete you've seen come out?
Ooh.
Pound for pound. Best male athlete, best female athlete, just because I'm curious.
Well, the best one I student taught when T-Chef was there.
I was going to say Tony. Yeah.
I mean, you talk about touched by the finger of God. I mean, come on. To be that tall and really was allergic to the weight room at Chelsea, and it was just freaky, and really nobody, and Brad could tell you more about it. I was so young and just so trying to just figure it out. But I just remember, like, who is this dude? Because he was, a lot of people don't even think about him as a basketball player. He was a freak show. Absolute freak show. And then there was a lot of rumors that I can't remember what organization, but they were going to draft him. If you watched him,
what's he like, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, he's 6'5".
Yeah,
he's all 6'5" and a Panther. I mean, he could fly.
Got drafted by the Broncos.
Mm-hmm. Second round.
Yeah,
I can't remember what he ran, guy, at the combine. I want to say it was 4. It was either 4.52 or 4.48, and nobody had heard of him. And he ran that, and it was like, you just made money. So I would say him. They're trying to think of some of the other dudes that have come through there. There's been a ton of female athletes that, I mean, like right now, there's a defending state champion that didn't even run this year in the state meet because she's a basketball kid. She's going to Marquette. She's a freaky athlete. The Lay kid is freaky. Tony's daughter's really good. But you go back around your time, I mean, I think at the time there was like maybe 5 or 6 girls that were running 5 flat in the 40.
Yeah,
that's unheard of, right?
Yeah, that's clipping.
Weird. And Coach Bush and I are stingy with that watch now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I get it.
But obviously Nick Hill's in that conversation. You know what I mean? And Brad wasn't afraid to pump in the rock I never saw Coach Joe Tripodi play, but he's in that conversation with Northwestern as an old lineman. That's a great question. We've been very fortunate. There's been a lot of really good ones, really good ones.
I got a sleeper. I like doing the
who do you think?
I just don't have as much. I haven't got to see everybody, right? Like, I never got to see Tony. I got to see Nick, but I was young. I'll tell you the best football player that I ever played with, and it's not even close.
Right.
Like, all around football player was Truman.
That is good.
Yeah, it's not even really that close. Like, he could have played running back. He could have played anything on defense, and he knew the defense. And when I say he knew the defense, like, he knew what he was supposed to do, but he also knew the coverage behind him. He knew what the front was doing, and he watched a lot of film, believe it or not, and he knew plays that were happening basically before they said hike. And
his body type, guy, if you think in high school, his body type lends itself to a lot of position flexibility.
Correct.
6 foot, 6'1", the 190 to 195 pound kid. That guy can play anywhere. Tailback, quarterback, linebacker, strong safety, outside back, whatever you want to call it. He can play as like a stand-up end. He can play tight end. I mean, that guy, if he's physical, that guy can play a lot of places. In his situation, he could really run.
My thing about it is, like, yeah, he was a good athlete. There was dudes that were probably as good as athletes as him, but what separated Truman, in my opinion, hands down, was his fucking attitude. Like, that dude played like you owed him money, or that you called his mom a bad word, and he practiced like that. Like, it was brutal. And I think when you do that in high school, like, you have all that talent already, you're walking on them, really.
Truman, the thing is like guys like Truman, which we've had, and you have to have. How do I want to say this? Like, one of the awesome dudes to have on a team, but at times needed to be reeled in.
Oh, of
Which
course.
if you don't have a half dozen of those guys or 8 guys at that age that they're at, because now that guy's like mature and the absolute savage. I follow him on social media, and I don't know if I'll ever see him again, but like an awesome dude. Reconnected with Cam. Not that he reconnected, but stays in touch with Cam, and but like you got to have those guys that are kind of just cowboys a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's exactly what it is too. Perfect
And
description.
those kind of kids, man, they're the ones. If again, I keep going back to the relationship piece. If you get that relationship with those guys, ultimately they don't want to let you down, and so like that's a big deal, right? And they trust you. They trust you, and they may not have a lot of people in their world that they can trust. They trust you, so they
Yeah,
they kind of they don't want to let you down. Yeah,
yeah,
he's he's a good dude, man. I'll tell you
yeah.
this: he was hard to handle at certain times in high school, which I love. God, it makes
Oh,
you
he
feel alive, guys
well,
that come to.
we could go on forever about him. I mean, he's got some stories, but he's like also the guy like you damn sure didn't want him to be like your team captain either. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's the
He
guy.
was a good follower. You got to have
Absolutely,
followership and leadership, right? We all know that.
absolutely. Yep.
That guy, I tell you, I know that this your podcast. A lot of times, you got a lot of hunting and that kind of stuff, extreme running and stuff. But I know that he's in Iowa, right, with his dad, because I went to school with his dad, Jim.
I talk to Truman pretty regularly, actually.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Like that guy, he loves to hunt,
Killer
and he's
dude.
got some good stuff. I think he threw some. What do you have the other day? Maybe some snake or something like that. Nothing like a python or anything out in the middle of Iowa. Some kind of rattlesnake or something. I don't know. Blue racer. They still have those around.
He lives in New Mexico, whatever they got out there.
He does. He doesn't live in
Yeah,
Iowa, Jim.
nah, Jim. His name's Jim, right?
Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy Hadley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lives in
Last I knew, he moved out to New Mexico, and Truman
Truman
stayed
or
in
Jimmy and Truman.
Jim, and then
Yeah,
Truman stayed back in Iowa. I don't blame him because Truman likes to hunt deer, and that's the mecca. So
yeah, yeah. That's what a blast from the past. That was, yeah, that was. That game. Speaking of BP, that we played Harper Creek, Battle Creek, Harper Creek, and BP. Tom's got
uh-uh.
a picture in his office. Whoa, whoa. He's looking up at the sky, just looking for help. Concussed on the sideline. Oh,
That was a tough game for everybody, myself included.
yep. Yeah, no doubt. It was a man's game that night, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm 170 pounds, five
Yeah,
foot 11, playing inside backer, strong as hell, quick as
with the
hell.
run too. Could run
Yeah,
now.
but dude, if you get a 320-pound
Man,
guard come grab you and he's got a full ride to fucking play at Purdue, it's gonna be a long day for me, which it was.
that guy was he was good. I don't know if he ever
I think
played. I never followed up on him.
I actually think he went to like Wisconsin or something, but that guy was legit.
Good
You
looking
know,
kid.
Patty Dig came up to me, pulled me in like the fourth. We're getting smoked like 30-3.
Dig.
And he goes, "What happened out there?" Like, what you mean what happened?
You
I,
saw it just like I wore
I
it.
was like, I just got my lunch ate for 3 quarters, and I was like, honestly, coach, like I'm not trying to make excuses. They're just way fucking bigger than I am. Like I can't get around them. Like they grab
Fr-
me and that's it. I was like, let
From a
me go back.
coach's standpoint, dude, it wasn't a good feeling on the sideline.
I
Yeah,
was
that's not one you want to be
I was like, yo, let me go back in. He's like, nah, you gotta be healthy for baseball season. I'm like, dude, it's fucking
in.
it's October, dude.
Over. Yeah, man, we're good. I could have surgery on both knees and be fine. We're fine.
That's
Let's
it.
go.
That was probably a blessing though, because I was getting raped.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Coach Diggin, I was just at this thing for the school district that his son is a superintendent in, and I was sitting down and we started, Coach Diggin passed away.
Yeah, God
And
bless.
and what a gem. And his son is awesome, John. And he started talking about stories about Coach Dignan. And you don't know this because during your time there, whenever we'd pull up, I'll use this as an example, Bedford. So we pulled up and we always got there early, which was cool because then nobody was stressed. We're good. He's like, Adam, we're taking a walk. And I'm like, okay, I'm assuming there's a baseball field around here somewhere because he always wanted to go check out the baseball field. And as soon as we cleared like wherever there was any people, just started firing it up. He must have had from walking to the baseball field back to the locker room. I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6 darts and just lighting one at. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
and he
lighting
was,
one with the one that's almost burnt out and shit.
yeah, that guy. I love that man. He was so good to me. I'll tell you how good of a mentor he was. This is uncommon these days. So my first year, I would show up to Sunday to the staff meetings, guy. He'd show up. I'd bring him coffee. He'd bring me notes. So I'd have like 3, 4 pages of notes for that week's opponent, and he'd hand them to me. He said, "Make sure you know them by tomorrow." And it
Handwritten.
was handwritten, yeah, absolutely cursive, cursive.
Mhm.
Nobody writes in cursive anymore, but he had it in cursive, and it was such a good learning experience from a guy like that. Like just a he's been in the game for like 50 years, dude. So that I love that guy. I love that guy,
He's
and
one of my
yeah,
favorite people of all time. Just getting to spend
you got
time with him.
oh totally. You got great lines on him. You got great coaching. You knew you felt like you knew everything going into the game, and he would coach you hard, but you didn't take it personal because you knew he cared about it.
And I got him on the back end. Like he was far past his prime, and I still thought he was a really good coach. It's like I got some dude teaching me how to play linebacker that's forgot more about football than like I'm ever gonna
Yeah.
know. Like I'm only playing for 2 more years. Like I'm not going to play in college, so I might as well just soak it in.
He loved high school sports. He showed up. He showed up to so many baseball games that he had no vested interest in, other than it was just Chelsea. And his
Yep.
nephew, or not his nephew, his grandson played at
Tecumseh, right?
Milan. Well, Tecumseh and Milan because he's got
Okay.
a son and a daughter. Um, yeah, I mean, he was just a legend, just a legend. I got one for you. So you talk about like hard, like just hard hitting, like you want to find out what you're really made of. This mid-state mile, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Tennessee thing. So what was the? I want to say it right. What was the hardest part of that? Because you're by yourself. You got one little man on this shoulder and one on this one, the devil and the, and so when it's 2 a.m. or whatever, like the witching hour, whatever, what was the hardest? I don't even know, like, what was the toughest part of that whole thing? I don't mean like pain. I don't mean like, I guess just kind of the mental piece. Cause I would assume everybody's hurting at certain points. And like, what did you kind of just tell yourself? And it can't be, oh, fuck this. I'm going to keep going. Like, okay, we got that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what was the real deal with that?
The hardest part about that race is that it's very fucking boring. If you think about it, you're living your life 20 minutes at a time, okay?
Right.
And then you just repeat that. You do the exact same thing for the next 20 minutes. And then you do that until you can't do it anymore. So, I mean, yeah, you're getting to see your people every time you come in and, everyone's cheering and waving and shit. And you sit down for, 90 seconds, eat a little bit, whatever. Then you get up off
Right.
your chair, blow the whistle. You got to do that again.
Right.
And you got to do that all day. And that's the hardest part because last year I ended up doing better than I did this year. This year it took me like 5 hours to like connect my mind with like everything else because I
Hmm.
was just like, you need to get to the night. Like, let's get to the night, and this is when this bitch starts, right?
So you're a little bit out of rhythm this year versus a year ago.
Yeah, I was definitely out of rhythm because after 5 hours, I finally was like, guy, dude, you got to run all day to get to the night. Like, you can't cheat this. You have
Right.
to run all fucking day in order to get to where you want to be in order to beat your mileage from last year. And then I was just like crazy banged up and shit. But um,
Well, if you
and
go
it,
back a year, so go back a year, like when you're running out there and it is night, like what do you just kind of do? You listen to music
you
or
can't.
is
It's
that
it's a
illegal?
course. It's illegal. Can't.
I got you.
Yeah,
So
you can't.
it's just as pure as it gets. I mean, you're just hearing your feet hit the ground.
Yeah, and I was very undertrained last year, which was upsetting this year because I trained like specific, like race specific for this.
Sure.
And like I was almost too dumb to know better last year is why I did, I think, better than I did this year.
Which
I was
can be the
almost, yeah, I was almost too dumb to know better. I was undertrained, but I was like, I won't lie to you. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give everybody a run for their fucking money. Just, I know I'm not in shape like that, but I'm too dumb to quit sometimes.
Right. Just
And
gut it out. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And that's what it was last year was just pure will. And it's weird too. Like even this year, my dad came in. You know, Kim came in. I got
Yeah.
buddies that are coming in. I got people that follow the show now that you can talk all this shit online all the fuck you want. It's all
Right.
good. But
It's real.
I don't want to be that guy though. I don't want to be just the guy that talks and runs his mouth. And I think I do a good job of not doing that. And I just let, my actions speak. So I want to go out and I got people looking after me, and not that I'm trying to impress anybody, but when you think you're done, you're really at only about 40%. I'm sure you've heard that, but it's fucking true, man. Like it's so true. When you're just
So
beat.
what now did you ever think you were done and then like 2 hours later you're like still battling?
Yeah, dude, I tried to quit early, like fucking early, like mile 30, like in the 30s. Yeah, I ran 10 hours longer than I intended on running because my coach was there too. Like he was there,
Right.
like helping, and my wife's there, and she's been to enough races where she knows what to say, what not to say, how to get me
Yeah.
going, how to like calm me down. And my coach is like, I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, my knee's fucked. Like this is gonna be a problem. It's okay right now, we can deal with it, but like a
Right.
couple hours, we're gonna be in the hurt box, so we need to address this. And then we
Yeah.
addressed it, and it was still kind of acting up. And finally, he's like, dude, you're either gonna fucking get over this or you're not. Like you're either gonna
Right.
quit or you're gonna keep going. Like nobody thought this was gonna be easy. Obviously, you're gonna be in pain. Well, here it is.
Right.
What are you gonna do? And we just kept
Yeah.
going. But it's just one of those things, man. Like I know I got people watching, and I try to set an example. Just like how I've always done is just, I might not be the best. I might not be the most gifted, but I work hard, and I want to show people that I'm just a dude. And if I can do it, fucking anybody can do it. You just have to commit to the training and just do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
What
And
what was the I get so how many hours did you run this past year?
how many hours did I run? 18, 19?
I was gonna say 19. Is that about
Yeah, 18. I think I ran 21 hours the first year. And I think like 18, 19 hours this year.
so like after when does your recovery time start to get cut into? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it the first 10? Like you're good. Like I'm getting like I don't know, like 12 minutes, 8 minutes to recover before the next one. Like when
No,
does it?
dude. Nope. So I'm very, um, I did the same thing every lap. When I tell you I did the same thing every lap, I'm talking about within like 10 to 15 seconds. I would come in between 18 minutes and 18:30. Therefore, when they blow the whistle at 20, I had, 90 seconds to sit down to sit down,
Yeah,
eat,
yeah,
grab something. And I was real, like, I'm hitting that every lap. Like, I wouldn't be
yeah.
like,
Because
damn,
you know by your watch like what landmark you're supposed to be at because it's the same course, right?
exactly. Same fucking loop, dude. It's like, yeah, well, by 15:30, I should be at the bottom of this hill rounding the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
helps, I would think.
You have to. But then when it gets dark, that even after I've ran it for the second year, that plays with you. Your eyes get all different. You're seeing all the dust in your headlamp. You think you're moving, but you're not. Now you got your poles. Some people, are quick with poles, some aren't. It slows you down, makes you tired, speeds you up. For me, I don't really know if they benefit me or not. It's
Right.
just I mean, it's really just you got to have a day.
I like
You
the fact that you did that, like not the first time for sure, but to go back and do it again. I don't. Who cares how far you go? It's just the fact that like that guy told you like, and you kept going like, hey, you're either going to keep going or you're not, and you
yeah,
kept going. Like that's like when you get older, like not the same age as me, but when you get older, you're looking for what what gets me going. Like I know it seems cheesy, but everybody's like, well, what's your why or what gets you excited or what gets the juices flowing? Something competitive because that's where we're all at. Well,
yeah.
softball and it the rec league ain't doing it. We all know that. So you know what I mean? Like
And that's why I came
obviously,
that's why I came back, because I felt like I kind of left a little bit of meat on the bone from last year. And this
mhm,
year, like, I mean, we licked it clean. And we didn't even go as far as we went last year, but it was the best race I've ever ran because I had to deal with so much bullshit. Like, I
which
mean,
can be
I
the
was
gift.
I was broke off. So That's what I like when it gets real dark and lonely and like you're like, fuck this. What the hell am I doing?
Right.
That's because all that sounds really cool talking about it, you and I, right?
Well, you got to make a
Like
choice.
yeah, like they do that saying like everybody wants to wear Carhartt until it's time to do Carhartt shit, right? Carhartt looks cool, but like if you're actually working and actually getting your fucking hands dirty, it's reality now. Same thing with
Yeah.
talking about like a run or training. It's all fucking fine and dandy until it's not. Then are you going to keep going or are you going to throw the towel in? That's the spot I like to be.
Yeah. No, that's good.
There's a
It
decision
makes
that
you
needs
feel,
to be made, right?
yeah, makes you
It's
feel alive.
yeah.
Trying to think. What do you got on this one? I'm not trying to hijack your podcast.
I prefer you be the host. Actually, this is
No.
great.
What do you got on this one? Longer to mature. Obviously, boys take longer, but what is your take on like dudes that you grew up with and like they figured it out later, and you were like kind of like, dude, I don't know, is this guy gonna figure it out? Let's go. Like maybe one of your buds, like one of your crew. You know what I mean? Like we've all had those kind of guys, and then by the time you're 30, because what are you like 28?
I'll be 30 in December.
Yeah, so 30, like dudes that you're just like, damn, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you talk to them, and you're like, oh shit, man, they figured it out. It's weird
Yeah,
for me to look at guys like your age, especially like in that range, 27 to 30. It's pretty cool.
it is cool, and I can't. I definitely say
Whatever
dudes take.
figure it out means, guy. What?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think dudes take longer to mature just because I am one. And like I still don't have it fucking figured out. And
No,
it's
nobody does.
August 14th, 6:09 Mountain Time. I'm 29 and some change and I'm like what am I going to do after this podcast type of thing? Like hell, I don't know what day it is half the time. But it's weird cuz like when you're in high school you're thinking like yeah, that guy he's going to be successful, he'll make it.
Right.
Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're not. There's dudes um that I know now, like Berman, for example. I thought Berman just be a normal dude. Now he runs a multi-million-dollar company
No
that he
doubt.
built.
That
And
guy's like a poster child for like every dude that ever comes through for any teacher that's like has a short wick for somebody.
yep,
Like, try to figure out what they're like. What's it like at home? Like, or what? Like, what are you excited about, or like all that kind of stuff. Like, I think sometimes us in education just are so short sighted and don't have patience for people versus like trying to have some type of relationship with them to get to what you need them to do, so they like complete something and then they feel good about themselves. I don't. It just, instead of like, and this is not all teachers obviously, but I just think it's easier just to cast somebody off. Oh yeah, it's not a very good kid. Well, hold on, wait a
yeah,
second. And then all of a sudden you wake up and they're 30, and it's, they're like running their own whatever HVAC company, their own electrical company, or their own whatever, and they're killing it. And they've got 2 kids, they've got a great wife, unbelievable spread for a house and stuff, and they're like figured it out, whatever that means.
this isn't
So
an end-all, be-all by any means, but I think what can really help younger guys or girls, when you get out of high school and if you choose to do the college route or the school route, pick a school that, a couple hour drive, or maybe you have to get on a flight to go to your
yeah,
school. You got to get out of your hometown. And I'm not saying it's an end all be all, but it'll expedite the process of you in turn figuring it the fuck out because you don't have anybody to fall back onto. You can't just drive home.
right.
Mom's not there, dad's not there. Like you're on your own. You're at school. You have
Yeah,
responsibilities. No one's gonna make you do anything. If you don't want to go to class, son, you ain't got to go to class. Trust me, I was really good at not going to class,
right, right.
but it was my decision. So I had to figure it out. And I feel like if I'd have went, the classic route, like, and this is no bash on anybody, but like if I'd have went to like Spring Arbor or like a Central or something, like I'd be home all the time.
Right.
I'd be home all the time.
And
And
I think that's good for some people
it
because
is.
they need that piece. But for a lot of people, this is the thing that I was just telling somebody this other day. I was just saying like how it's so valuable to leave here and be like, dude, I'm never going back there. I'm sick of that place. And then all of a sudden you turn 30 or 27 or whatever the age is, and you've got this significant other, and you're like, or we're married or whatever, and then you're like, well, we'd really like to have kids, but where do we want to raise our kids? Well, I guess we know that the education is good. We know that it's a good community, et cetera, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you're back in Chelsea and you're like it. It's
Yeah.
weird how that happens, but I think that you got to get out of here. I really do. I'm with you because it helped
Yeah.
me.
And I don't think, like you said, I don't,
You don't have
it's
to,
not,
don't you?
you don't have to. And, I know a lot of guys that went to school locally that are doing great things. For me, though, it, it was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. And don't get me wrong, like I didn't go to school terribly far away from home, but like when I was done with school, son, I done got out quick.
Yeah,
Like I was gone,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I haven't really been back apart to visit, and and it'll help grow, what's the word I'm looking for? Appreciation for where you came from, for
Yeah,
sure.
no doubt. Especially when you have those things that they're for sures, because there aren't many
Yes.
for sures, right? You know that educationally it's good. It's a safe community, blah blah, all that stuff. So yeah, I brought that mentor thing, or not mentor, but like some people it takes longer, and then all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, dude, I haven't seen you in forever. Wait, what are you doing? And then all of a sudden you're like, that's not the same person. That's why we can't ever like kind of just cast off somebody because they weren't the model kid in school.
Yeah. I mean, again, I know guys where I'm like, oh, they're gonna be successful, and I look at them, and I'm like, where is this person still alive? Like I
Right.
have not seen them, heard of them, whatever. So you never really know. I think there's outliers and all that stuff, but I'm rooting for everybody that I know because this shit,
Absolutely.
life is hard, man. It really is. Like it's you wouldn't think so. Like especially with marriage. Marriage is difficult. Like how I look at it, it's like how hard can it be? Like it's just you and one other person. All you got to do is get along. Well, son, dude,
Yeah.
it's like a lot harder than that. Like it takes constant work to like be a good husband or a dad or because you have to constantly communicate and people don't
Yeah.
realize that.
Why words to live by right there. Absolutely. Speaking to speaking to me, somebody that's failed at it. So yeah, no, accurate, very accurate. I got one more for you, and then I'll leave, and then I won't hijack it anymore. I'll leave it to you.
Oh, you're good.
Travel sports. Travel sports. How many? How do I want to phrase this? How many travel baseball teams were there when you were like 16U, right? Like whatever that was.
Mm-hmm.
Like what were your choices?
I mean, anywhere. There's a lot.
There was a lot.
Yeah, I could have played on a million teams.
So it's funny, we get into this conversation all the time about when Coach Mack, who
Yep.
so Coach Mack and I were, because I played with him. I was a junior. He was a redshirt freshman at EMU, and there was three teams: Jackson Wendy's, Ypsilanti Legion, and A Green. I think A Green. That was it. I think there was either two or three, and that's it. I guess my point to the whole thing is how well it's become gross, but how diluted it's been because you had the best players and they made those teams, and then everybody else played whatever their hometown was. It's
Yeah,
just
and that
interesting.
no, and that's how it was, especially when I was around. Like I either could play with these dudes over here who was call it like an all-star team, like guys from the region, or you could play with everybody that you went to school with, and like,
Right.
you know, I mean, it's just different. And I played way too
Well,
much. I played way too much ball in the
You
summertime.
were you were an idiot. That the one fall you and Tanner were playing fall baseball Saturday games after Friday
Oh,
night game. I was like, "What are you doing?"
yeah, that was a mistake. Yeah.
Just body bagged on Saturday morning after filming a lift.
Yeah, well, not to count what we did Friday nights after games either, so
Well, right,
yeah.
right, absolutely.
I think
Man,
it's important for athletes to play every sport that they can
fighting it.
and, and
That's
not
the
and not
like
hone
that.
in on one specific,
No,
niche.
no. In the false sense of a college opportunity, I'm going to be this much better if I just do this is banana land.
Mhm.
It's bonkers,
It
bonkers,
is.
bonkers. Yeah. And that you and I use baseball as an example, but they're all in that same category, whether it be volleyball, soccer. There's, using baseball again, these facilities have 6, like 14U, 15U, 16U teams. Well, they all stink. You know what I mean? What are we doing? And it's all to keep the lights on, right? Paycheck. Anyway.
Tell me about that new facility. I was reading the email.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it, because there's gonna be a lot of Chelsea people that listen to this and they might want to donate too. So tell us a little bit about it, what it looks like, what the plan is, and how, if they do want to spread the wealth, what they can do.
Yeah, we're always looking to replenish stuff, no doubt. But more important than that is just to stop in and check it out, because I've said this to a million people. The reason why that place is there is because of, well, obviously people like you, but so many kids that have come through. We talked about Amber and Cal, and so many kids that have come through, and then the district is not forced, but they understand how key it is to the big picture, the total experience at Chelsea. So yeah, we're really lucky. I think it's 6,200 square feet, and it's 14 double-sided racks. So that's 28 spots. So when you were there, I just did that thing the other night, like I was telling you, at Westland. I had a picture from like 98 to 2011. So actually, this is a good question. 98 to 2011, it was in the old, right next to the training room.
Yep.
Is that where you lifted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. And then that's where the squatting took place, in the left corner.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and then in 2012, until COVID, was in the wrestling room. So that we went from about 1,500 square feet to like 2,300 square feet maybe. And then once COVID hit, the floor caved in, blah, blah, blah. And then we went to the district with the addition to the aux gym and the weight room. We went into the new weight room, 6,200. So it's good. It's good, man. Really good.
And what about the new facility that they're fixing to build? The
Oh,
indoor.
yeah, and that has not. I think it's going to happen. We hope it's going to happen. So it's going to run parallel to the old gym,
Yep.
gym at the high school, where the practice field would be. And I can't remember the dimensions of that. I want to say it's like 150 by. I don't even want to guess. It's big. It's big. Not tall, but tall enough where infield for softball, infield for baseball, and then obviously cage room. So yeah, but all sports will be able to use it. So yeah, that'll be, if that actually happens, which I think it's going to. We've almost hit the goal of dollar amount. And John Daniels is a saint. That guy he has battled and generated a lot of dollars. So
Who's John Daniels? Excuse me. Is
John
it
Daniels, great question. So John Daniels, part owner, I think he's majority owner of Chelsea Lumber, and so
okay?
he has spearheaded the whole thing. Yeah, he's been outstanding, awesome dude. Been a Chelsea guy. I'll tell you this: how good of a dude he is. He was instrumental in him and Coach Slater, as far as the when we had to. So we redid the floor in the weight room, even though it's brand new. I don't want to get into it, but we had to move all the equipment into the aux gym to tear out the floor, and we put down sheeting. And he was like, "Yeah, we got you on the sheeting." It was huge. So
Sweet.
7/16 plywood, we laid it all down. He's like, "Yeah, we'll have it there." Like just a good dude, just a giver, cares about Chelsea guy. But yeah, he's got a great vision on that indoor. That would be a big deal, being in the north and having an indoor like that and sharing it with the other sports. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
Even
no,
though
I
it's
I
coming
looked at
down
the
to the.
blueprint. Is it essentially going to go where like the old football field is, like where we used to warm up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you were there when we warmed up one night when we were in a weather delay. I think. Yeah,
yeah,
right out
yeah.
there. So basically, it would run east and west
Yep.
from the football fence to whatever I call it, the players' lot, the back lot to
Yep.
the back gym there. So yeah, the old softball field, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice space, and there's land there. So yeah, it should be really good, like turfed. Again, net all around everything, so it won't damage any of the walls or the ceiling or anything like that. Yeah, it should be good. It should be
Yeah,
good.
man.
Fired up.
Good. Yeah, it looks amazing. I mean, that's a lot of money to be generated, and if you're almost there, that's important, man. That's a big deal.
Yeah, and obviously that family took care of baseball and softball as far as the stadiums and stuff like that. They spearheaded that too. So that goes back 20 years.
I got something for you, man. We don't get to
Yeah.
talk ball very often. And you can't say Otani just because that's a given.
Yeah.
But is there a guy right now where if you're like flicking through the channels and you see that they're playing, you're like, hey, must see, like I'm not gonna miss this at bat, or I'm not gonna miss this guy's shove. Is there somebody right now that you really like watching?
Isn't the
Maybe
guy from the Braves, isn't he like freaky, right? Strider, isn't that who it is? Right-handed, he's a fastball, he's just four-seam fastball strider guy. Or slider, not strider,
I don't know who
slider.
I'm not familiar with who you're talking about.
He's must watch. Obviously Kershaw, just because he's just keeps reinventing himself. I'll tell you the guy, I can't remember his name. He's hitting like 380 something for isn't it for the Marlins? Ariza? I can't remember his name, but there hasn't, in the way the game is right now, right? Like nobody cares about average. Like it's all about a bunch of other stats, OPS plus, all that stuff. So yeah, that guy, I mean, he's willing to take it the other way, and he's so quick, so quick. Who's the guy from Phoenix or Arizona that's electric fast? Carroll, something like
You're
that.
throwing guys at me that I'm not even fucking familiar
Come
with, and
on.
I'm almost embarrassed because I'm checking box scores every night and stuff.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is Carroll. Like he takes advantage of like an errant throw. Like you're going to throw it to second, he's just going to go to third. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Or like a ball and dirt type dude, getting the
yeah.
extra bag. Yeah.
Or on a knock to the outfield, he'll take the extra base. Here's the reason why I was such a fan of you in baseball, because you had some stink, and ultimately, a lot of people don't know this. You called us out, and because you weren't playing much, right? And then all of a sudden, why? Why aren't I playing? And then that forced. I think you were in 10th grade, not your junior or senior year, but I think you're in 10th grade, and it forced us to really like, whoa, wait a second. But from that point on, because you're kind of catching whatever, and then obviously second base, and then transition to the outfield. But the speed played in the outfield. But what you could do is you figured out how to make the ball ride,
Yeah.
and that's a big deal. That is a big deal because that kind of catapulted the next guy, and then the next guy, like younger guys behind you.
Yeah.
So yeah, making the ball ride. That was because Neff, he kind of kept that stretch going, and so yeah. How about
And
that team that you guys were on, that 2012 team? That was what a good group of dudes. We were under 500 and made a hell of a run, and it was
just
weird. Like it took a
just
while to figure it out.
got it figured out when we needed to figure it out.
Yeah, you know who the catalyst to that is the killer. The killer,
Yeah, 100%.
man, what a dude.
It's almost like if you look back at it, and it's weird to think about it like this, but if you look back at it, it's almost like you and I like planned the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I planned anything. I was just trying to survive. Maybe you had it figured out. Maybe you and Tanner had it figured. That's probably what happened.
Oh, Tanner had nothing to do with it because I was the one that was fucking the team like consistently. So it's almost like you and I had like this secret like deal that we were fixing to make was like, all right, guy, go fuck up. And that way everybody has to get punished. And then
Right?
if they see that you're getting punished, then everybody knows that there's no slack around here.
Could be right.
It's
Who
almost
was
like we
this?
had that planned out, but we sure as hell didn't. I was just stupid.
No. Who was the staff at that point? Because J Dub was with us, right?
Yeah, heck yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
J Dub was
J
with
Dub's
us.
my guy.
Oh, totally. I was just talking to him tonight. So you had him, Coach Herter, Coach Slater, and then was that it?
We had Randy Cox, baby.
Oh, Rando, that's right. That's right. I rode back with him and just shaking my head the whole way back from Tecumseh that night. And
Was
Cheese was standing up on the top step of that place, just squirting everywhere. He
oh
couldn't keep it
man.
together.
Oh man. No. What a team though, man. You did a great job coming in first year
Figured it
head
out.
coach, and we figured it out.
We did. We absolutely did. Absolutely. That was good stuff. What What do we got? What's the weather like today? What do we got out there? Hot?
It's always hot here, man. Yeah. I'm actually today's August 14th. Tomorrow, though, opening day for archery antelope is in full effect. So we'll
You
be
tell me
out
about that.
chasing. Yeah, we'll be chasing some antelope tomorrow.
And you got a tag, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, but that's a hot hunt. It's a sticky hunt. And when I mean that, you got shit poking you and there's a lot of rattlesnakes and
That's
yeah,
dry.
it's very dry.
Where are you glassing everything, or are you like, you
Yeah,
know what I
so
mean?
so what I've come to find out about antelope is that there's a fuck ton of them, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna kill one, especially with a bow, because they can see very, very good. So if you're driving down like a road and it's straight open fields, because that's primarily where they like to hang out in big groups,
Right.
you might as well just keep driving. If there's no like topography,
Hmm.
there's no up and down or there's no weaves or bends in the land that you're hunting, you might as well just keep driving by because if you think you're just going to walk, through an open field and try to sneak up behind an antelope, it ain't going to happen. So you need
Right.
to have a little bit of country between you and the goat in order to try to make a play just because they can see so good. Like you might be creeping and they'll see like the little knob, the button on the top of your hat before you even like know what
Sure.
day it is. So a high opportunity hunt though, like there's a lot of stalks to be had. Um, and it's a good tune up for like elk hunting and just, stalking in general. You can really hone your skills in for sure. So
Who's your guy again? You were telling me about. Who's your guy that you're going with? Like kind of a running mate here. Are you going with?
yeah,
Didn't you tell me about somebody like a week ago?
yeah, so the problem is, well, I don't think I name dropped him on this past week's podcast, but I've name dropped him on the previous two. But I'll give him a shout out here just because he's always giving me shit. Peyton is like kind of like my hunting buddy. He lives out in Kalispell.
He
But
can
yeah,
Venmo me. He can Venmo me if he gets residual
yeah, no
for
doubt,
bringing him up.
no doubt, no doubt.
What's the furthest? Like, how close do you have to be on that hunt?
I mean, honestly, dude, if I get an antelope at like 90, I'm fucking sending it because they're so hard to get close to.
Yeah, Robin Hood that bitch.
Yeah, they're so
You know,
hard to
put a
get
little
close to
arc
you.
on that.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I'll say it on a podcast. I'd probably send one at 100, like to be quite just because they're so fucking hard to get close to. I would never shoot like an elk or anything like that
No,
that far.
no, I
And I
wouldn't.
don't know why an antelope holds less merit to me. I mean, it's still an animal that I care about, but again, I'm probably gonna miss it 100, but I'm at least gonna see if I get lucky.
That's what I said. Just Robin Hood that thing. Just
Yeah.
send it.
Yeah, dude. Like it ain't no thing. We'll try. I'm hoping we can send one tomorrow, but we'll see.
Have you guys seen? Have you seen a bunch?
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
What do we got out there right now as far as like? Is there a rogue bear or like a wolf pack of wolves that are just rogue running around? Is that not a thing?
We
You
had
don't
when I was
understand? Like,
yeah, when I was working for the department, we had a moose on the loose one day. Like no
it's legit.
bullshit, like a full grown like male moose running around town that we tried to well,
Get off the tracks, right? Get off the tracks when that thing's coming.
they tried to like I was not involved because I didn't want to look like a fucking idiot like most of them did, but and then I think last year we had like a mountain lion in the area. I mean, in Billings, it's not like Western like that.
Right.
Like it's not
What
like I
do they
live
do with
out.
like a moose like that guy? Do they just trank that thing and just
I
get
don't
it to
know
lay
what
down?
they ended up doing with it. I think that's what had to happen because like this bitch was running through neighborhoods and it just
That's what I'm
wasn't like
saying.
it went through like a school ground and shit, like recess.
Oh,
Like it was pretty bad, I think, for a while, but it's nothing crazy right now, I don't think. Not at least around where I live.
damn.
It's been weird though. Don't quote me on this. I was told that it's Navy Week, which doesn't make any sense to me because they're flying fucking jets everywhere. But I live right next to the airport, and they have had like this air show this
Yeah.
past weekend. And I mean, dude, like, like
Right.
freaking like car alarms are going off and shit in my neighborhood. These
Was
jets
it,
are so loud.
yeah.
So I mean, I guess
Was
it's
it sweet?
It was pretty freaking cool, but it got old, like, because they practiced all week before the show this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. So I mean, they've been ripping it.
Damn. What about mentors? That was one other one. I actually didn't even see that. What are some of the people that you've had on like mentors? Like what are some of the characteristics of some of these people that you've met there, like, or that you've had on your podcast, like, that are like what do they say about mentors that they've had? Because I grip tight to those, and obviously, hopefully, I've been a mentor to some people. But like, what's your take on that?
I don't necessarily know about mentors that other people have had, but I know like people that I look up to or people that I consider mentors. What I've noticed that they do, I mean, they're all for the most part very successful in whatever it is that their craft is. But I've noticed that they do a really good job at like manipulating their time because
Uh,
we all have the same amount of time in a day,
yeah,
but it's what you do with that time that fucking matters. I've seen guys that are really successful and people that I like look after. They find little gaps in their schedule where they can fit in, things that they know that they need to do that's going to make them better at their craft or, like for example, if I don't get my run in or if I don't lift or whatever, like I'm probably going to be kind of an asshole that day.
right. No,
Especially
totally.
if especially if I planned on doing it, but like I got lost in time or whatever.
Yeah,
If I know that I'm not supposed to do that, I'm probably okay. But if I knew that like, hey, my intention was to do this, but I woke up an hour late and I'm searching all day to try to find the time, I'm probably going to be an asshole. So these really successful people that I follow, they're really good at being like, hey, I got a meeting at 7, but if I get up
yeah,
at 5, I can get my shit in. And a lot of people aren't willing to like sacrifice sleep and shit like that, but dude,
yeah.
there's nobody rich. There's nobody like mega successful that's getting 8 hours. Like, unless they've already made it.
Right. No, that's good.
You,
That's a good point. What
you
was
know?
what was somebody like in Nashville that that like when you were with the force or whatever like that you were like, it's a real one. This person's a real deal, and like they want me to be safe. They want me to learn the right way. Was like what were some of those nights, days like? Because that I always want. I meant to ask you that actually when you were in Nashville, because that's a different animal down there versus where you're at now, and when you were at the
Mhm.
force where you're at now. But like that's like for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you got somebody that you trust like that you're riding around with for however long, the first 6 weeks or whatever, and they're like, hey, I'm not playing around with this. Like you had to have though. That's what I mean by mentors. Like, did you have somebody like that in the Ville?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I actually got really lucky. When I first got out of the academy, you get cut to like do like a field training ordeal where you ride around with like a field training officer for
Right.
6 months. You do 2 months at a time, 2 months at a time. And the first person that I rode with, his name was Justin Chisholm, but his nickname was Slate, so they called him Slate. And to this
Hmm.
day, like easily the best cop I've ever worked with, hands
Probably
down.
still text him, right?
Still text him. Yeah, he
Yeah.
retired, thank God, because he was gonna get killed. And his wife, I think, was like, "You need to settle down." They got a couple kids and shit, and she does real good. She's like an author or whatever. But what I liked so much about him is that he would he would he wouldn't really necessarily tell me what to do. He would show me initially. And he
Yeah.
knew that I'm green as fuck. Like I have no idea how to be the police. So we do the
Right.
first like, we go get our first stolen car and he would do everything. Like he'd be on the radio, he'd drive, he'd get out, he'd run, chase the dude down, tackle him, cuff him, throw him in the back, and then look at me and be like, "You tracking? You got it?" And I'm like, "Are we gonna have to do this again?" He's like, "Yeah, probably in a couple hours." And I'm like,
Right.
"Okay." So like he was really good at. I'm more of like a visual learner opposed
Yeah.
to you tell me something, I take notes. I didn't really learn anything because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
He was really good at that. Like everything that we did, he would take the lead first, show me how to do it, and if that situation came up again and I didn't act on it, then it was an issue because
Right.
I already was taught how to do it. Right? Like I just watched him fucking get the guy. Um, and to this day,
Patient.
yeah, dude, like could really talk to people. Like and we worked the projects together. And I mean, we're both white, and in this particular set of projects, nobody was white, everybody was black. But they all had like mega respect for him. Like we'd be driving down this one little side road in the projects, and everybody would be smoking weed on their porch, drinking. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. And they're just smoking blunts outside of their place, and I'm like, "What are we gonna do anything about that, dude?" He's like, "Nah, they're straight."
Just gonna
He's
keep
like,
it and drive, move
if
forward.
they're smoking weed, he's like, that is the least of our problems.
Right.
And they'd be waving, like saying what's up. They respected him. They knew that we weren't gonna mess with them unless they deserve to be messed with. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's just interesting because while it probably got old and in the stress of that deal, you had to have had somebody. That's why I asked it. You had to have somebody while you're in Nashville that like one was patient, but also wasn't playing around. Like when I show you, like you said, like when I show you something and it's time to go, you got to go. So
And it was cool because I got trained by him, and like again, I worked 5 years after working with him, and he was the best cop that I ever worked with. But when I got done with him, I went to two other guys, and then I got cut like to go work by myself in North
yeah,
Nashville. And a guy that I know, his name's John Petriello. He'll probably listen to this. He listens to all the episodes. But he was also trained by Slate. But he was a little bit younger than me, but he already had like a year and a half on.
that's sweet.
So
That this
when
guy's
I
got
found
like a lineage. This mentor guy, this
he
Slate guy.
did, yeah. So like when I got to North, I met this guy named John, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna run together," and I'm like, "All right." He goes, "Who were your FTOs?" I was like, "Well, Slate was one of them." He's like, "Me too," and I was like, "Oh, so you police like he does?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well, that's how I want to police."
Right.
So it was cool. Like I had a mini mentor in him, even though he's
Yeah.
younger than me. Like he's been around, he's seen more stuff. Like you got to put all your pride aside, man. Like especially if
Well,
you want to get good
experience.
at what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he
sweet. I
kind.
never heard you. I never heard you talk about those guys because I'd always ask, and it's always like in text or like on phone, like, "Hey, how you doing?" Whatever. I just wanted to ask, like, the mentor piece is a big deal, especially in that world, right? Because if you get like a turd that's no good, and then all of a sudden you're a cowboy out there, people ain't living long doing that.
No, they're not. And like I don't know how Slate went on it. Like they had to move. He had to like alternate shifts a couple times because he was on like midnights or something, and he was causing too much shit, and they were putting like bounties on his head or some bullshit. So they're like, "Hey, you need to come to days and like fucking tone it down a little bit before you get killed."
Get
And
off the
he's
grid for a minute.
like, "Okay." And then that's when I met up with him. Was we were working days, and I mean, we worked 2 months together and got a stolen car every day besides one shift. So like
Sure.
nothing really changed, but
Right.
yeah.
That's great though. Like, you can learn fast by that. You see some stuff in a hurry, I would assume, with a veteran guy like that.
Yeah, you do. And it's weird because like when you get trained by like different people, you can kind of be like, I like what AT's doing, but I want to try it this way. Or they might be like, hey, I really like what he's doing. I'm gonna try that. So you get to take a little bit from everybody, and then when you
Yeah.
get cut, you kind of get to form your own way of doing the job. And
Yeah.
some people like the way I did it, some people didn't, but I enjoy the way that I did it. So that's all that matters, I think.
Yeah. As long as it's chill, you never lose your mind because then you stay level headed, right?
Yeah, I got something for you, man.
Yeah.
I know you're
Hang
big
on,
on.
pause it for a second. 'Cause I'm gonna grab a beer.
Yeah, you're good.
Or not pause it, whatever. You can cut it out.
No, I'm keeping it rolling.
All right, I got you.
I
I
know you're
got you.
big. I know you're big into like social media and shit. Like you don't post a lot, but I know you check the shit and you stay up to date on stuff.
I like to
Do you?
see what everybody's doing. Yeah, like where
Yeah,
they're at because there's so many kids that have come through, right?
yeah. Something that I've really enjoyed watching, and this is like levels and levels above, what I'm doing, but the whole barstool thing. I remember we were at Toddy's for like one of the bowl games, and I think you were there. Maybe you weren't, but I know Todd was there, and he was like, "Have you heard of this account, Barstool Sports?" I'm like, I had never heard of it. And he's like, "Yeah, Tony's friends with the guys and whatever." So I get on there and I click like follow. These
Mhm.
motherfuckers had like 15,000 followers on Instagram.
Right.
And now they have probably, I mean, I'm not looking, but like probably over 10 million. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
mega, mega crazy. But I say that to say this,
That was
like,
like a fish wrap, right? Like a newspaper in the guy's apartment, in Portnoy's apartment, right?
yeah. Would I say all that because they have all these other like mini brands under Barstool, like all these other podcasts
Yeah,
and shit. Do you follow any of the Bussin' with the Boys, like Taylor Lewan, Will Compton shit? Have you seen those guys' stuff at all?
funny, isn't it? Yeah, it's
Dude,
awesome.
it's fucking gold, man.
You know,
It's
going back in
so
time,
good.
question, but going back in time, you're probably too young to remember this, but when they started out and they had that fish wrap, the paper and all that stuff, and trying to hand it out and all that, and
Hmm.
I'm paraphrasing what it actually was like, but they had these parties. I can't remember what they called them. They'd be like at warehouses. They were like raves before raves, and it was like just all nighters, and it was like it not abandoned places, but like that was like grassroots of that. It was. I remember when that came out. Yeah, it was good. But the busing with the boys. I think whenever you can get athletes like that, isn't that sweet? Because
Yeah.
they got cachet. They got the juice with whoever they can get on there, and then they get people that are the I don't know who they have on the Tennessee Titans coach. Shit, that was
Braves.
yeah, Vrabel.
Yeah.
Who'd he say he couldn't beat up? One of the linemen. He was like humongous. I love that shit. I
I
love
watched
it.
a little bit of that last night, actually. I just think those guys are so dope. And I'm like, man, I need to go back to Nashville and see if I can get a shoe in over there and see what the word is.
It's definitely a niche. I don't watch a lot of podcasts. I think or you're back.
Good to go?
Yeah, you're back,
Yeah,
bro.
I am back, dude. My fault.
What happened,
I don't
dog?
know what happened. I don't know. My computer kind of froze, but I think we should be fine. I think everything was kind of uploading as we went, but
What's mine say?
it happened.
78%. So we're good.
Yeah. No, it's just remote podcasting, dude. It's part of it.
Yeah, no, you're good. You were saying Barstool. What other is there a better is there a better interview? Yeah, is there a better interview than Caleb's Sunday conversation and what's his name? Uh, oh shit, what's his name? What'd he say?
Oh, Glenny Balls.
No. Caleb and Sunday conversation. What is his name? Son of a
Oh,
gun.
you talking about the guest that they had on?
Yeah, hang on, I'll tell you. I don't even know how to explain it. It was
There,
electric.
there's been some good ones. I really liked the Drake one was good just because Drake never does interviews and he actually really played into it. I liked that one. Who else was on there?
No, dude, Kodak Black. Come on.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. That's an excellent. What were some of those lines?
he,
He was just like smoking a blunt, like being all weird.
but he was out of control on that, and he kept cutting Caleb off, and Caleb was like, "That's a hit. That's a hit right there." God, was that good? I thought that
I
was
love it when he very rarely does this, but he'll break character every now and then, and he'll like laugh or kind of chuckle, and they'll cut the camera away.
oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Who was the other guy he's fighting this weekend? That was a good one too. Is it O'Malley?
Yeah.
That was a good one too,
Do you know
man.
do you know he's from Montana?
Is he really?
Hell no. Yeah.
I didn't know that. He's kind of a savage. He's got some fast hands, man.
Dude, he's big time savage. But I was pretty concerned because I watched his interview with Okamoto or whatever his name is, the UFC reporter. And like Sean, I don't know how closely you follow fighting. I follow it pretty closely.
Right.
But Sean pretty much said he's like, yeah, it's fucking, kill or be killed. He's like, if he grabs
Oh,
me, it's gonna be kind of a
cool.
long day for me. But he's like, if I can prevent him from not grabbing me, he's like, I'm gonna knock him out,
Oh,
which I
totally.
fully agree. But I don't think, as much as I hate to say it, I don't think Sean's gonna be able to keep Aljamain off of him.
You don't think so?
No, I think Aljamain's too. I mean, he's so fucking good, and that's what Sean says. Like the whole interview, he's like, this guy's different level. Like he's the best bantamweight of all time. He's legit.
Just seems like
So
Yeah, if he gets a hold of him, it could be a problem.
It's gonna be a problem because like Aljo, he walks around at like 70.
No.
Yeah, he literally does. Like 65, 70. He literally just said that on an interview that I watched today on Ariel's show.
What's the ceiling?
So think about
What's
that.
the ceiling on
They're
the
fighting
weight?
at
What's the ceiling on that weight class?
35. That's a fuck ton of weight. And that's what O'Malley was saying. He's like, man, he's cutting so much weight. He's like, if I can prevent him from grabbing me, he's like, I'm gonna find his chin. And when I find people's chins,
No.
it's a long day.
Yeah, he's got heavy hands for that weight, no doubt.
Big time, dude.
No
Big
doubt.
time. I actually tried to get him on the podcast when they were in Helena.
How'd that go?
Terribly. They didn't even read it.
Fucking big timers. You know, that would be electric if you could get somebody like that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking, I hate that big time shit. Especially from that state. Like, come on, man. Throw a guy a bone, right?
Well, you got to realize, like, yeah, the podcast, it's doing really good. And, you know, it's grown substantially, 100 episodes, fucking big whoop. Like, it's cool. But the people that I want to talk to, like, if they were to come over here and talk to me, they're doing nothing but a solid for me.
Oh.
Right. Like, I can't really offer anybody anything. I can't be like, yo, like, here's my outreach. This is what, you know, you're going to, you know, come promote your book or come promote your fight or something. Like, we're going to get big numbers. It's like, not really. Not yet.
Right. But it's helping somebody out.
Exactly. And a lot of guys are pretty good at that because I've interviewed a lot of people that actually have their own shows that are, you know, bigger, more successful shows, but they remember what it was like when they were in my shoes. And
what about Eric McCormick?
Yeah, what about him?
Savage, right?
He's a beast. Yeah. Fucking beauty.
Yeah, I listened to that and then I started following that guy. It was legit, dude. Legit.
Well, he was one of the easiest persons I've ever gotten.
Really?
I sent him a video. He responded in 10 minutes. He says, yeah, let's set it up. I'm like, dude, they don't usually go this clean.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and it was cool. And actually, Cam Haynes ended up listening to that because that's Cam's old trainer before Eric moved out to, I think, Phoenix maybe, or somewhere in Arizona.
Right.
But Cam actually listened to that episode and like shouted it out on his page, which is kind of cool.
I love that you're chipping away, just chopping trees.
I mean, what are you fixing to do though, right? Like the worst that can happen if I'm like, hey Adam, do you want to come on the podcast? And you tell me no, I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Ain't mad at you. Deal with it. Moving on.
Yeah. Don't go away mad, just go, kind of thing.
Amen to that. Amen.
Yeah.
So what do you think about what podcasts you listen to? Which ones do you like?
The funniest thing, man, that's the funniest thing is that I just told this to somebody the other day. It's like, I don't really listen to many podcasts, at least consistently. Like, I'll go on YouTube and I'll catch like a 7-minute clip of a show that I like, you know, based on whatever the thumbnail is or however they title it. But I've recently started listening to the Six Ranch podcast, which is a guy, his name's James Nash. I just had him on a couple of weeks ago. His podcast has over 1 million downloads.
Really?
But he's a 6th generation like rancher.
Really?
Like his podcast is basically just he wants to interview people with calloused hands. So like people that have, you know, done some shit. He interviews people from all different walks of life, people with no, you know, Instagram following per se. And I like the way that he runs. Yeah, I like the way that he runs his show. I like the people that he has on because I don't know who they are. And then I also listen to like the Brendan Schaub show. I think it's like Thick Boy or something. But just because I like MMA, so he talks about the fights, you know, before they happen, and then Monday after they happen. I like that one. I usually listen to that weekly, but it's weird, man. Like if I tune into a podcast, more times than not, you either have to have a guest on that I really am wanting to hear from, and if not, I'm not really listening to the guest. I'm listening to the host because I run a podcast and I want to see how they conduct themselves, how they speak, how like the questions that they ask, how they throw their ads in throughout the show, what their intro's like. Like I'm just trying to like get Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Shoot,
So
I gotta check.
it's
You said
weird.
it's Six Ranch.
Yeah, the number 6 Ranch podcast, and it's cool, man. It's really cool. My buddy was on it, and I had James on my show. He's just cool. Like he does weird shit. Like he does stuff like very old school.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll shoot a deer and he'll like quarter the deer out. And if you know what that
Yeah,
means, it's like you take the hind quarter, take the other hind, take the front shoulder, front shoulder. He'll take like a hind quarter and he'll salt it and he'll throw it in like a game bag and he'll just like hang it from a fucking tree for like 4 months outside.
and no animals will get it.
I mean, I think it's like right next to his
Oh, I
house,
got
so
you.
no. I think he lives in like Oregon. But what his purpose of that is like aging the
Right.
meat. So like if you go to like a crazy fancy
Yeah, it's like dry
steakhouse,
aging, right?
exactly. So he'll do that and man, he'll cut that thing open after like 4 months and it's hard as a rock, but it's like a charcuterie board, like that type of
Yeah.
meat. After you age it for so long, it's like hard, but it just looks delicious. It's almost like a jerky. Just old school shit like that you wouldn't think that you could. He's like, yeah, I just do what the weather gives me. So he's like, if it's 75, I leave it. If it's 40 the next day and raining, I leave it. And then he just lets the meat age
That's
naturally.
crazy.
And just like cool shit like that, you get to learn something.
Hell yeah. What about
It's
training?
fun.
What about strength training? What do you got like right now? Because you're coming off, you're a month out or whatever from that the Tennessee run and all that stuff. What do you usually grip tight to like right now? Mileage, still mileage, or just that's a piece just because of the hunting coming up. You got to be, you want to be dialed in. And I know you had your own shit in your garage in Nashville. What do you anything that you always grip tight to?
I'm always running. I'm always running. Over the past 3 years, I just had a guy ask me this, I think last night. He's like, man, how do you train? What do you do? And I'm like, dude, I'm like the fucking worst person to ask.
I don't know.
Because I would never tell anybody, hey, like, go do this.
No, no, I'm not
I
saying
just,
that, but I mean, what do you grip
I
tight to?
just,
What do you like? What keeps you like where you want to be?
I'm always getting miles in, either one way, shape, or form. I used to run 7 miles a day, which was stupid because I feel it now.
Yeah,
I did that for like 3 years, and my knees are like, dude, you can't be holding that. Those are 50-mile weeks, nothing crazy. I know dudes that get 100-mile weeks, but I'm a big cardio guy, dude. Like I love endurance. I love like mindless cardio.
right.
So, like today we ran for an hour and then got like a little back workout in the garage gym and shit. But I've been liking, I wouldn't call it like CrossFit stuff, but more like hit like circuit stuff. Like, have you ever done the ski erg?
I have not. Denny and I were just talking about that. Mr. Bauer and I were just talking about that because I think Cal and Amber went to the CrossFit games and he bought one. He bought.
You have to, dude, get one. They're fucking
Is it
awesome.
legit?
It's so cool, man, because like there's no ground and pound on your lower half at all. You're just standing
Right.
there. If anything, your heels are coming up every
Yeah.
time,
You're
you
gripping it
you
from
go up and
ceiling,
come
right?
down. Yeah, and there's like a resistance wheel on it, and I'm no big dick dude. I put it at 1.
Yeah.
I don't put it up to 10 like a rower. I put it at 1, and I wail on that thing. I'll go like 5 minutes on that, and then I'll hit stairs for 5 minutes, and then I'll just do that for an hour, just bounce back and
So
forth.
you got the erg.
I don't have it. It's at my gym.
Oh,
My
oh,
gym has a shit ton
I
of
got it.
them.
I got it.
Yeah, if I actually go to the gym, I'm always touching that. That thing is
What
awesome.
about this piece? Because Denny and I were talking about this too. Because I think he got on it first time maybe at WVU when Daryl was there, but the Versa climber.
Yeah, like, oh, are you talking about this one? Is this a Versa climber?
Yeah, that's you, buddy.
Yeah, I've never done that. It looks terrible.
It's, in my opinion, it's the the Diablo. It is the piece of evil. It is nasty. And you put a backpack on, throw a 10, 25, whatever, what, wherever, how bad you want it to be, it's nasty because you can't. It's not like you can stop or go slow, or it's just a pure piece of evil. In my
Is that similar to like a Jacob's ladder?
It's
I mean, I know it's different,
it's different.
but like that really
That
sucks.
one does, yeah, no doubt. But this is like you're upright. I mean, you're on like a
Yeah.
45. Not really, not even quite a 45 actually, but it's like just it's bad, dude. It's bad, bad. And that was the only reason I bring that up because I used that when I originally herniated a couple discs, 4, 5, and S1, but because it was non-impact, but it smokes your low back because of the posture, and it is cardio like bad. Anyway, I just didn't know if you'd ever been on it because you brought up the ski erg. The ski erg, everybody says the same thing you said. It's just nasty,
It's good though,
right?
man.
And
Like it's
right
a
in a
it's a
good way.
it's a good
Yeah,
nasty. It's an enjoyable nasty. Like I actually like being on that
yeah, yeah.
machine.
No, no, it's the truth. There's nowhere to hide, no doubt.
What about you? You still pulling index cards and wherever the fucking whatever
Yeah,
card it is, you just go
yeah.
after?
We made
Yeah.
it up today. I was out at Denny's place. I think I shot you that text. We were out at Denny's place today because the room is under construction, and what a great place. I just texted Daryl and just was like, "Damn, this is awesome out here." I mean, you're out in the country and you're in a barn, and
I was gonna say, is it like a barn vibe?
it's a yeah, it's a beautiful weight room inside a barn, and there's stuff everywhere. It's perfect, organized chaos. It's awesome. It's totally good,
Yeah.
and he's got the right stuff. Like we got on the Concept 2 rower. We were just talking about the Concept ski erg. We were on the rower, and yeah,
Yep.
I mean, what about the bike? Have you been on the Echo bike ever?
Yeah, I have. I don't like it.
No. What about like
Yeah.
those are some nasty ones. You start sprinting for 20 minutes or 20 seconds on, 10 off, 20 on, 20. Yeah, man, bad.
Yeah.
I don't ever see BP have any of that in his facility. Is he getting soft now that he's gone
Nah,
corporate?
dude, he's just getting dudes fucking
I
yoked.
know, I know.
Like we're just bench pressing, deadlifting, and squatting, son. That's it.
The bike though, the bike. There's nowhere to hide. Just like all those things, man. God, dog, nowhere to hide.
I got something
Yeah,
for you. I'll edit it out if you don't want, but it's probably fucking common knowledge. You can just look it up. How old are you? 40 something?
just turned 49. I love it too. I love it.
I remember when you turned 40, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh yeah, so that was
So,
what year was that? 9 from 23.
I'm not a math guy.
9 from 23. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
14. Yeah.
it was a banger in my
What
house
keeps
that
you
night. Keep in mind, my mom threw up. My mom organized it. It was just a banger. 1362 Karsten, just a banger.
See you never.
Yeah, exactly. What do you got?
What keeps you going? Like I know you're a strength coach. I get it, man, but like fuck, you ain't got
Same
nothing to
thing that
prove. Why
run
you
is.
keep
I'm
getting
glad you
after
brought
it?
this up. The same thing that yeah, that run that you do is what keeps you going, and whether it be the mundane miles or whatever. It's such a good question because it's not even like a fear. It's just like constantly chasing like what gets you competitive. Because like if you don't like get to the point where you're like, wait, this is getting really bad, and then the other voice on your shoulder says, dude, you're gonna be fine. Like just you're good. Just keep going. Your heart rate will get back down. If you don't get to that point, I feel like you're just staying safe, right? I mean,
Yes.
and so it's like, but like when we were you, me, and every other person that's ever been in college athletics or whatever, you you get there and then you feel awesome afterward. Like damn, dude, we got after it today, and then like so you're always chasing that, right? So it's hard to do that if you don't have an end goal, right? Like I'm trying to play baseball at Saginaw. I'm trying to play baseball at BG, or I'm trying to get drafted, or I'm trying to like that's hard shit, don't you think? I mean, so you're
I
like that
know.
mid-state mile, like you just whatever can get me. It's so cliche, it's bullshit, but like whatever can get me uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
It's actually
I
sweet because
agree.
Denny and I, if we're in there together as Josh and Logan and whoever else is in there, it doesn't even matter. Coach Moonrose going back in time, what a stud. Um, But like if you stay safe and it's over and you're just like I'm so mentally weak. Like it's just such a letdown. No matter how long it was, right? If it was 20 minutes or it was
Yeah.
45 minutes or an hour 5 and you didn't like get to the point where you're totally uncomfortable, it's like God, I'm so mentally weak. It's embarrassing.
And there's that thing too. It's like you never regret it.
No, no,
At least I don't.
no. But it's just
You might be questioning your life decisions in the the heat of the moment, but when it's done and you click the stop on your watch, you're like, glad I did that.
right. You know what's interesting about all these? You said pulling cars and stuff. It's so fundamentally at the grassroots of strength training. It's so like not right, not okay, and just butchering yourself, and so not good for your CNS that it's almost like you just justify it by like, well, I gotta go just to get like just not be soft and stay comfortable. I don't know. It's just weird, right? It's a great question. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna paint a picture. So when I say pulling cards, what that means is that AT and everybody else that's came through that thing, they make these workouts and they put them on little index cards. And dude, how many stacks of index cards do you
We
have?
got a lot of stacks. We got a lot of
A lot of stacks. So what they'll do when they go work out is they'll just grab a stack of index cards and they'll just pick some poor soul to pull one out, or maybe a couple, and then choose from three.
Yep.
But that's real. That's real strength training. That's good stuff, man.
Again, it's so unsound, but again, you're just trying to whatever. You're gonna squat 3 days in a row, squat 3 days in a row. I mean, speaking of that, Squat-tober's coming up.
Yeah, what's that look like? What's that
It's
look like
good.
every day?
Yeah. It's 31 days. It's really good. I'm a big fan of that because it's mapped out right and all that stuff, which those guys do a great job. And then right now, 45 day challenge by Aaron Feld. Pretty cool because I got a sister that's has Down syndrome and participates in the Special Olympics. So we do 45 days of 100 buys, 100 tries right now, and we're in the middle of it. Right, so it starts 45 days out from the first. I don't know if it's the first game or if it's the first game week. But anyways, it leads up to the first college game week or first game college game. And this guy, he donates all the money, and he just sells a shirt, and he donates all the money to Special Olympics. Yeah, Aaron Feld, man, I'm down with it. I'm down with it. It's for a good cause, and like I said, my sister's got Down syndrome, so I'm all in.
Yeah, that's really cool. You should be all in. That's awesome.
But that was a good question though about the cards. There's a lot of stacks, and there's been a lot of failed attempts as far as like, hey, let's just grab a stack and start over, and then turn them all upside down and pull them. Right, pull one, and then you get it, and you're like, oh no, yeah. Was it 3 bars of death?
Dude, you got some bad ones. There's some bad
What's
ones.
the one? It reminds me of the movie every time I see it. 7 exercises, 7 reps, 7 rounds. Terrible.
See you never.
That's a CrossFit staple.
And then God forbid it's somebody's birthday, because then you're doing 50 reps of whatever.
Yeah, Cal Bauer can go to hell, and you can print this thing, post it, whatever. Because for Denny's birthday, 64th birthday, it was absolute evil, just mutiny. It was
what it looked like.
It was 6 exercises, 64 reps, and it was. I want to say he threw a penalty in there. So if you set the bar down or whatever, it was like 5 burpees or something like that every time you set it down. So a penalty. It was Cal Bauer. What a jackass. It was. Yeah.
I want to get Cal on the show.
Yeah, what a dude. Yeah, love that dude. He's a good guy, man. Self-made. That's a great family. They've treated me like in my family like gold, no doubt. What do you got?
All right,
what do you got in your garage? You still got your rack? Did you take that out west?
Hell yeah. Yeah. I got a rack, couple bars. Broke a bar, not because I'm strong, just because it's old as fuck. But yeah, a couple bumpers. I do a lot of band stuff. A couple miscellaneous dumbbells, kettlebell, bench. I make it work, dude. Like, I'm not trying to get jacked. I just try to maintain what I have.
Absolutely.
But we've been making it a point. Morgan and I actually go to like the real gym, which is fun, something for us to do, and
it's
nice to use equipment that I don't have.
You're a good man.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get it, man. I like it.
Now, what about dog ownership? You're a dachshund, the hot
Yeah,
dog, right? I mean,
to the
you need to
death.
get a third.
I know. I'm thinking about it. I ain't said nothing about it, but I'm thinking about it.
No, don't let Morgan see this.
Yeah, I love those little bastards, man. I told you I'm not like a small dog dude, but these little dogs, and they're being so good. I can't believe they haven't said anything upstairs yet. But yeah, I love those little
Did G
guys.
allow you to, the first one that you had, was it with G, or did you get it when you went to like Nashville?
No, so the first one is Morgan's dog, Rev, and then her and I bought the second one
Gotcha, I
together.
got you.
Yeah,
My guys,
yeah.
dog
They're just
ownership.
doing their thing.
That's like the first
Yeah.
sign of kids.
Yeah, I think I do a pretty good job with the dogs. At least I hope so. So
I love us.
hopefully we can figure it out.
Absolutely. What what are we practicing shooting right now? I mean, you said you're going out tomorrow.
Oh
Have you been
yeah.
practicing?
Yeah, every day.
I like that.
Yeah, I shot today, so tomorrow I'll probably I'll probably park my truck somewhere and just shoot like one arrow. Just,
Really?
you can't really like buy confidence, so you want to make sure that everything's shooting good, you're good. I'll take it easy on the caffeine in the morning, just probably have like a cup. Because you start shooting bow and you're overjuiced on caffeine,
The shakes, dude. It's like you're like a surgeon. You get the shakes, you got to retire.
yeah. And archery, dude, it's such a perishable skill. Like you can lose it like
Yeah.
so quick,
You ever
so
heard of
quick.
Terry Reynolds?
No,
Local guy, like multiple world champion. Went to high school with him. I can't believe you
no
haven't heard of
shit.
him yet. Local guy.
An archery world
Yeah,
champion?
yeah.
That's
Like
cool as shit.
ESPN when they used to have it on there. They got the
Hmm.
old boy standing behind the thing and shooting at targets and shit. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's cool.
yeah, absolutely. What shit, I was gonna ask you something else. I can't remember what I was gonna ask you about the shooting. Can't remember. Drawing a blank.
It's all good. I got
Yeah,
something for you, and I know your kid's gonna listen to this. So, who was the better athlete, you or
not even
JT?
close. Him
Yeah, I was gonna say him too. I never saw you play. I saw him play though.
faster, could hit better. No, I could throw better than him. And then the where I thought I had him was I thought I could strike better than him. He's it's not even close.
What do you mean strike better than him?
Bring the hat.
Oh, like
Yeah,
hit
yeah,
people?
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no. I give him credit. He
He's got good nose for the
can
ball,
run.
man.
Can run. If you can run, you got a shot. Just like you. Different times though. Different times. He could never throw like me though. That's the only diss on him.
I don't think a lot of people could throw like you, man. You could throw a little bit.
But remember this: you only get so many bullets.
Of course. Yeah, because you
Yeah.
threw your arm out, right?
Oh yeah. That was in Florida. Playing long toss. Tried to throw it over the fence, and she popped. She popped.
From where?
Foul line to it was right field foul line to the left center field fence. Yeah. Which
See
was
you never?
which was weird because we would do that when I was with the Indians. That was kind of like the last couple throws every day before we got going into BP. So that's what
Yeah.
happens when you get old, man. You get old and then shit doesn't work right. Yeah. What about recovery stuff? What are you into on that? Ice bass? What do you think? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't really know my take. It's funny. I started doing ice baths before people started putting them on the
I knew
internet.
you
I was
did.
doing
Yeah,
them in
yeah.
like,
I knew.
yeah, I was doing them like COVID. I personally liked, going for a long run and it's fucking 100 degrees in Nashville and then knowing that I was about to get in the tub. But apparently, they say that you should get in before you train now,
Really?
which for me, I'm like, I like it
Yeah.
after. I like to cool down, but apparently it's more beneficial and don't quote me on this, listen to Joe Rogan's podcast or some shit, but it's more beneficial for your muscles and everything else if you do it before you train.
Really? I
Yes.
knew not afterward. I knew that wasn't the. You don't want to close the cells down and they're receptive at that point. Blah blah blah. But my point is like I don't know when the right time is. I haven't really bought into it. Now I bring it up because with Denny, he's got He's got a sauna in his garage, 2-person sauna. It's sweet too. And then he bought a tub. It's a 1-person tub that's got a chiller unit attached to it, and it's small. I mean, it's really small. It's like the size of a over shoulder bag that you'd carry a laptop in. I mean, it's small, but he keeps it at like 40, something like that, 38, 40 degrees. I can't remember, but he's 3 minutes in, and I'm out. Yeah, it's pretty good. He swears by it. I just didn't know I knew you had did it or you had done it before. I just didn't know if you're still into it or. In the winter, it's
Not
probably
as much
easier, right?
recently.
It's either
Yeah. In the winter, you don't need to do anything. Yeah, just fill it up with water, break the ice, and hop
right,
in. Yeah. I don't know, man. Again, I'm not a very good guy to ask. Like, I took a day yesterday where I made the conscious decision. I was like, I'm not doing any cardio and I'm not doing any weightlifting. And I like made that
right,
decision. Like, I never am like, I'm gonna take an off day. I at least like try to mix, 30-minute cardio,
right.
something. But I don't know. I'm always trying to do something. I'm not very good. I think the best thing for recovery, though, honestly, is sleep. And also, I'm not a fucking advocate for that either because I don't get a lot of it.
Right.
But, sleep is where you really, truly recover. And your body is going to naturally heal itself. Like, there's all this research and all this bullshit out here nowadays. It's like, what do you think they were doing in the 70s? None of the shit that we're doing now. And those guys were like,
Might have been some different stuff
athletes.
coursing the veins, but yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, I guess we didn't consider that really much, but yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's
I
probably
I
right.
do think I try to preach because like kids will go 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 go, and then right, everybody's been there, right? You're 16 to 22, and then you don't you don't see that like off days are more valuable than the lift days, and you want more.
Yes.
You got the taste, you got the taste of it, and so I just think more and more and more is better, and that's where you hit plateaus and you get injured, then you get frustrated, and then it's a sick cycle. So
Yeah, I've recently learned that basically the start of this year. I got hurt and I realized it is because I was being dumb and I wasn't doing things that I probably should be doing. Like I'd roll out of bed 5 minutes later, I'm
right,
jogging. Like you can't
no,
fucking do that, dude. Like
no,
you can't do that. So I've implemented a lot of like mobility work, like yoga, shit like that. I stretch every morning, which for me, I think that's the best thing.
yeah. You know what's funny about that? You mentioned yoga. We've been doing yoga at least once a week in class now.
Yeah, make it 2, 3 times, man. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's been good. Well, you've been in there. You've been in there. Those TVs in the middle are huge. And the biggest challenge is you get one jackass that's going to act the fool, not act right, and then you got to ask him to leave, and then it draws attention.
Hmm.
Yeah, but usually if you get a good class, it's really beneficial, and people actually look forward to it. Adrian, yoga with Adrian, like 27 million views for one episode on YouTube.
Huh.
You're making money on that,
Huh.
right? If you're her, 27 million views.
You don't have another job. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, yeah. You're doing another
Yeah, you're
episode of
good.
yoga with your dog sitting next to you.
Correct. Yeah,
The
yeah. You're
incense burning.
weekly. Yeah, weekly, son. You ain't changing a thing.
Exactly.
Maybe mix up the poses, but just make sure to post
And out
in 7 days at the same time. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, yeah. When you got it like that, dude, you just ride that.
Damn. Damn.
It's
What
wild.
about
It's
G?
wild, isn't it?
What a stud, man.
Yeah,
What a stud.
yeah, yeah. He's the guy. He called me before we got on here.
He hit me up today. This is how much of a savage that guy is. He hit me up today. He goes, "Hey, when's spring break this year?" It's
Same week it is every
like,
year, dog.
damn, bro. Like, I haven't even thought about tomorrow, and you're hitting me up about March. Shit. But I like that. It keeps me in check.
Somebody has to, man.
God,
Yeah.
that guy's good. Absolute gold. I didn't tell you this. I drove down. Where was I driving? I think I was going to play Timber Trace. I'm like, I'm going to try to fuck with G. I drove down your road, parked right in the driveway, and just hammered the horn. I don't know if anybody was home, and just, and like literally like a 20-second, just hammered it down and then put it in reverse and pulled out. I don't even know if he was there. There was a couple cars in the driveway, and I was just like, I got to get out of here. And I just kept going to Timber
Full
Trace.
of it. I love it, man. That's so funny.
I was hoping he'd come out in his robe.
Yeah, what time are you there?
It was early enough. It was like 9:45 ish, but it was a Saturday or Sunday. It was
Oh yeah, he was chilling. You know he was. He's probably still sleeping.
third cup of coffee. Yeah,
Did you see what he was trying to do when we were in there? I don't know. Not the last time I was in there. We all lifted together. He was like trying to talk to you and talk to me, and
oh, you checked him.
we're like ball
You checked.
we're balls deep in the middle of like a 300 workout. I was like, dude, stop talking. Like, well, I was like, we're trying to lift, dog.
It was so funny. You checked him right away, and he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." He didn't get offended by it, which was so good.
Well, he knew he was in the wrong. I was like, son, we're struggling. Just give it a minute.
Just let me regroup. Yeah, you checked him, which was so good. I just started because I was benching. He wanted to know like A, B, C, D, E, like the answers to this, this, and this. Hey, what do you think about this? What about this? Yeah,
Exactly.
what a dude. You still got water in the back of that, like that pond?
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think there's any. I think there's a goldfish in there now, though.
Chase got everything out of there. What about
Yeah.
Berman? He's not a podcast guy, but maybe if he listens, maybe I'll hear his name. We're deep into this. We just hit 2 hours, bro. So Berman,
Really?
I'm gonna have to hit him up when we're done. So see it till the end. He's got more toys than anybody I've ever seen right now.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spill his business on here, but some of the numbers he was throwing at me, like with payroll and employees, and
No, yeah.
I mean, I pulled up to a shop. He had like 7 trucks there with his name on them. I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah.
You ain't playing for real.
What a dude. And I don't think he has that many employees, does he? I mean, he's just self-made right now.
He told me like 15 or 17.
Oh, he's got that many.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing I was going to bring up to you is like with the Sornex thing, how many people out there, and I need to start listening because some of these guys got podcasts, but just how many great coaches there are out there. So many, like, I know that I brought that guy up, that McCormick guy, the Outlaw Strength. There's so many people out there, and it's not right. It's not wrong. Like, it's not wrong. Nothing's wrong with what he's doing, but it's interesting how many really good coaches there are now. You know what I mean? Like, whether it be college, whether it be high school, whether it be independent, it's just interesting because we live in this small space. Like you said, you got to get out. Like, I bet there's like great coaches where you are, Montana State, you know what I mean? Strength guys. That would be awesome. I don't know if you run across many of them as far as some of the hunting, the Nock stuff that you do. I didn't know if a lot of those guys train and they speak of other people, but damn.
There's this thing going on around here, and like in Bozeman, they call it like Mountain Tough Fitness. They have like a bunch of coaches over there, I think, and they run people through programs. Like there is some really, really good stuff out there, and guys that work for like universities, of course. I'm talking just like solo guys like me. Now that I'm into it, you kind of get to you got to figure out what sets you apart from everybody else, and you got to find like your ideal client, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it's like anything. You got to just, jot it down, figure it out, game plan, think about it.
It's interesting because a lot of people like that you're running across, they just want some direction.
They want guidance and they want accountability. Yeah. Yes. Accountability is like the biggest thing that I have. It's like people know what they should be.
It could be you, it could be anybody.
Yeah. They know what they should be doing.
Right.
But when the decision is up to them, more times than not, they're taking a left when they should probably take a right to the gym and go.
We've all been there. I mean, so it's not like
everybody. Everybody's been there. But that's just the thing. It's like if a lot of times the only thing that it takes is somebody to just invest a little bit of their money where they do have that accountability, and you work with a dude for 3 to 6 to a year, and then they're good. Like they're on the path and they're going. Like that's my goal. I don't want to coach somebody forever.
No.
I want to give you the fucking tools, and I want you to implement them, and I want you to live by them. And then when somebody's like, "Yo, what did you do? How'd you end up? You got in shape." I want you to tell them that you worked with me, but then I also want you to help your people too. I want you to help people in your circle. That's what this whole thing's about, man. It's a lifestyle, man. We're not competing in bodybuilding competitions. We're just trying to live longer and just feel better about yourself,
Good
you know?
self concept. Yeah. That's the thing that I was.
That's
That's
it,
the thing
man.
that I was telling. Who did I say that to the other night? Like at that. Oh, it was in Wayne. I was just saying like there's two types of people. Well, there's three people that like obviously value this and it's a lifetime decision to just chip away at it every day, whatever. Like Denny, IU, whoever. Those are good examples. Cal, whatever. BP. But then there's two other people. There's people that the person that's old like me, 49, the middle age, right, the 35 to 45 to 50 or whatever, that are like, God, I really like to do, I really like to work out. I really like to exercise. Like I want to, but they don't know what to do. And then so they're like, well, I'm gonna start going to this gym, and then they balk at it because they're insecure. And then 3 months later, they feel horrible about themselves, and then they this cycle. That's one person. Then the other person is that loves to work out. They work out. They do the same thing over and over and over. And then after 3 months, they're like, "Yeah, I'm bored." And then they jump off they've fallen off the wagon. And then 3 months
Mhm.
later, they're like, "Oh fuck, I need to start again." And then they do the same thing again. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yes.
if if kids are graduating from us and they become one of those two people, we failed them. We failed them.
Yes.
We have absolutely
Yeah.
failed because confidence, self confidence, knowing what you're doing, to go into a gym, understand how to do stuff. That's the gift. You'll always do it, and it might be Pilates, it
Yes.
might be, but you're like, shit. I know what I'm doing in this regard. I'm going to at least give this a shot. It's different, but I'm going to give it a shot because I got confidence in this. Like that's the win, right? I mean, uh, those are like
No,
the
it
three
is. And I
people.
think,
Those are the three people.
yeah, and I just had my buddy on, Joel, who was kind of one of those three people where it's like he'd commit, he'd get motivated for a couple months, grind it out, and the next thing you know, he's like, I'm not seeing it, therefore it's not there. Well, it is there, but you're just not seeing it. Like you can look at it either way. Just because you ain't seeing it doesn't mean it's there. If you're putting the work in, it's there. You just gotta,
Keep chipping.
that's it. You just have to keep at it, dude. Like, I mean, even with me, I see stuff with like my body where it's like I'm really not doing anything different, but I've just been doing it for so long that I'm getting like weird veins in places that there usually is never veins there, and it's not like I'm leaner or anything. I just think it's Herder told me that a long time ago when I was coaching with you guys after I graduated and stuff. He's like, man, might not mean a lot to you now, but like if you keep this up and you keep doing what you're doing, you're really gonna benefit from it when you get to be like 40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, that shit all adds up, man. Like it all does.
You watch this. What'll happen is you're like, at some point you're going to be like, you know what? I'm tired of putting in all these miles. It's a piece, and then I'm going to add a little
Yeah.
more strength training, and then I'm going to add a little more non-impact cardio, and then I got this book of stuff that I can do, and I'm never damaged goods. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind
And
of usually how it goes.
yeah.
Like usually runners fall under that category because what happens is, and not to throw darts because he's a total absolute savage in regards to like his program and really just kind of how he rolls. But Swagger, like he's to the point now where he can't run back to back days because
Yeah.
you can't do that. You just can't. I
Yeah.
mean, these people that run this mid state mile, like it's a window. And then all of a sudden I get so broken down. So what do I do now? I can't do that every day. So I got to supplement something. Right. And then it
Yeah.
becomes this like full circle thing where you've got this like toolbox, all this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's like I realized that I told you like after I got hurt in like January, and it's like, man, I probably shouldn't be doing the amount of running that I'm doing. So like I try not to run more than like 2 or 3 days in a row. And
Wow.
I'll just feel it out. Like I'll hit my watch and I'll be like, man, we'll go for an hour today. It doesn't matter what the miles are, but just I'm breaking a sweat. I'm getting better, but I'm not killing myself either. And then the next day I might do like some stairs, or I might get on that rower or that skier. And a dude asked me, he's like, so how would are you more of like a CrossFit dude, or what's your deal? And I was like, again, I'm not really the guy to ask with this because I kind of do a little bit of everything. But I kinda like that, it's kinda becoming popular, that hybrid
Mhm.
training where it's like, I'll go run 50 miles with you, and then the next day we can deadlift however much you wanna like, I wanna be that guy.
Right.
I wanna be able to kinda do a little bit of
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's if you're well-rounded like that, then I think you're on the right path.
no doubt. I'm not a big fan of running, but I know that it's a piece. I know that it's a
It
piece because,
definitely
like,
is a piece, dude.
it's interesting talking to the surgeon after you have herniated disc, and then you got degenerative disc disease, and then blah blah blah. And it's interesting. He's like, you can't run 40 miles a week or 50 miles a week, but like it's got to be a piece. And so does the echo bike, and then so does a rower, and so does skip and rope, and then obviously you got a strength training there so that your lumbar and your abdominals and all that stuff stays strong, so that you don't have the herniated disc rear its head again. And it's just interesting as you get older, but at the same time you got this competitive piece in you, and you're chasing that feeling that we were talking about earlier, like the uncomfortableness. But you can
Yes.
get that at a lot of different turns, a lot of different.
You can't Yeah, you can, dude, and, like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, "I don't give a fuck what you do,
Right,
but do something that's challenging for
right,
you." Like, it might be a walk around the block, but, like, hey, if that's hard for you, hell
yeah,
yeah, do it. In a couple months, that might not be hard anymore, so maybe you're gonna have to run around that block instead,
right,
So it's like, there's so many different ways to go about it, and I think just if you can find what you like, but is also still challenging, and if you do it for the right reasons, it's just a lifestyle, man. You wanna like you really don't have to be in the gym. You're 40, almost 50 years old, but you love it, and you wanna get uncomfortable, and, I'm sure Anju appreciates the fact that you're still in good shape.
yeah. You want
You
to be a
like
turd,
yeah, like, you don't mind, like, how you look when you get out of the shower. You're like, "Fuck yeah, like, I'm getting after it." And that's kinda how I am too,
yeah.
but there's always
A
room,
little bit
man.
of
There's
self-pride,
always room.
right? Self-pride.
Yeah, and I'm bad, dude, because, like, to me, especially with my old profession, first impressions are everything.
Yeah, good
Or,
point.
first impressions are everything. I hop out the car, my shit's untucked, my car is dirty, my boots look like shit, I'm looking hungover, I'm fucking 30 pounds overweight.
Or sagging.
If I'm doing right, like, if I'm the bad guy, and I'm looking at me, fuck, I can take that, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you have to think like
That's like
that.
real talk too,
So,
right there. I mean, because that's the
yeah,
first
so
that's the first thing that comes to everybody's mind. If they've done something wrong or there's a warrant out, I can take this guy.
and that's what I'm saying, though. So, like, when I meet somebody and I meet somebody that I mean, call it like I get made fun of, like, you know who David Goggins
Yeah,
is? He says some shit like, "If somebody calls you fat, it's probably because you're fucking fat." Like, I mean, it just a spade is it is what it is. Call a
yeah,
spade a spade.
truth.
And, like, if I meet somebody, I'm like, right off the get, I'm like, "You're 50 pounds overweight. Do you just not give a fuck? Like, what's the story?" I
Yeah,
definitely don't wanna do business with you because if you can't
right.
even take care of yourself, how can I have faith that you're gonna put everything into this business? Like, it's just little things like that where first impressions for me, if I'm like, "Wow, you're in shape," I think that we can learn from each other because I know automatically that you're taking care of yourself. Like, you're in total control of
No,
that.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. What do you got? What do you got on? What do you got on? Like, what a weird world, right?
Dude,
What a weird world. What do you think about, like? It's probably hard to explain and be neutral. But what do you think about, like, the people that probably didn't do anything wrong, but then they just get banged hard, like by the media? Like, doesn't it seem gross? You're young too, but like I get turned off by stuff like that. Like, almost like, well, if you do this, that's not good enough. And then if you do it the other way, well, that's not good enough either. It's almost like, what do you want, man? You know what I mean?
right. I don't know. I just
You might not want to touch that.
yeah. No,
Maybe
it's
slow.
not that, man, but, like, I'm really good at not giving a damn about what other people think.
No, I'm with you.
So for me, like I don't have a big enough following where I can really get judged too terribly bad. But if I was in the public eye all the time, man, like I'd probably just take my phone and throw it away.
Right. Almost.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine.
I think when you and I sat down when you were home a week ago or whatever, I think you and I both said it like, just do you, just get it out of my face. Like,
Yes.
just whatever you want to do, man. Do you, and just stop pressing it on me. So that's all I was saying. I was just chipping at you a little bit, poking the bear.
I just I really appreciate dudes that just kind of like work behind the scenes.
Amen.
You know, like a Jake Stein. Like I haven't seen him in years, and then I see him, and I'm like, dude, you're
Making
fucking
moves.
jacked, man. What's going on, man?
Dexter Cider Mill making
He's-
cider, trying to run that shit.
yeah, it's awesome, dude. I love guys that just get kind of like ducked off behind the scenes, but making all the right moves, taking care of themselves, taking care of their people. Will call you if you know, they'll answer if you call them, type thing.
Yep.
Like
Which I haven't done
those
this
are the
week.
people. No, I knew that I was gonna have to do something to get you on. I
No,
figured it out though.
no.
Just peppered you with questions the whole time. Shit, man, you good? I think we're 2 hours, man.
Yeah, 2:15. Just
Set a
shut
record.
up.
Set a record, bro.
That's perfect. Yeah.
This means a lot to me, dude. I really appreciate you coming on. I don't know.
I don't know.
My normal listeners will be gone probably like 20 minutes in, but everybody else that knows who you are will probably listen to the whole thing. So
Hopefully people hang out. Yeah, absolutely. I just know that you're doing moves, man. You're making moves and it's good shit. And every time you come home, like you're the reason why I keep working. So there's relationships with alumni. I mean, nobody's gonna hear that because again, we're at almost 2:16. Nobody's gonna hear that, but that's the truth. That's the truth. You, Tanner, and everybody else that came before you guys, man, that's the truth. So
yeah, it's nice to come back and pop in, check you guys out real quick, man. You guys are, like Coach Bush, Herder, you, just those guys, man, just good people and
Coach
have
Turner, we
helped
didn't even
dudes
touch
like,
on that guy. That's another podcast. What a
yeah,
savage.
dude, yeah.
What a savage.
But you guys took care of like, dudes like me, Tanner and shit, and
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Just trying to make sure it's a good experience, life lessons, and then on you go. On you go. Just don't forget about us old guys.
Oh man. What's it looking like? A lot of traveling coming up, right? You got your schedule planned out, U of M games?
Yeah. Going to Indy Wednesday, move one child in, and then game on Thursday for her, and then DC for another child, moving her there, and then in another week, yeah, get ready for Michigan. Yeah, should be good. A lot of soccer, a lot of football. Yeah, it's good, man. There's a small
What is it?
window.
Is it weird like throwing on? Because I still think you look just so foreign wearing like a Michigan hat and maize and blue. I've never, as long as I've known you, never seen you wear that shit until like the past 2 years. Is that weird for you, like throwing on the Block M and stuff?
You know what's weird, guy? That's actually a great question. I was never like a Michigan slappy, and I just kind of follow everybody, right? And then I was kind of a
Mm-hmm.
Oregon guy. Like I was a big fan of Oregon, and just because of the uniforms. And like when I go to the Michigan game, I might just still wear a Chelsea baseball hat, to be honest with you, and Chelsea strength conditioning stuff, and it's Navy. If it's a maize out, I'll find something that's maize. But yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. I just like to go and hang out and just enjoy it because there's been so many years where you've got a decision to make in a game or this move or that move, and I just like to go and just hang. I like to make a bunch of food before the
Yeah.
game and just enjoy watching kids. My kid, Delaney, obviously at Ball State. I love it. I love it. Just get to hang out. It's cool.
Hey, maybe what we'll do, man, is we'll get the calendar pulled up, and maybe I'll catch a home game if you can slap me a ticket, and we'll tailgate and stuff. I'd love to do that
Oh,
and go check a
always,
game out.
always, dude. That's easy.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
If you come home in the fall, that's easy because the tailgate's legit. It's crush food, drink beers, and then go in and just hang. I mean, and they're good right now, so it's sweet. I mean, it's
Yeah. No, I'd come back for that for sure. That'd be fun. Let's set that up.
yeah.
I'll be back in end of November regardless, but maybe I can get back a little bit sooner. We'll catch a game
Not
or
only
something.
would
That'd be
I
fun.
like
If
that,
it,
but G would like that. My man misses
yeah,
his kid.
he would. Yeah, and if JT, I know he'll listen. So yo, dog, slime me a ticket at will call, will
Oh,
you?
that's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. Not a problem. Yeah,
I'm gonna get him on one day once he's done with ball and shit.
yeah.
I want to talk to him. Another guy I've been.
You've known him
I
since he
only
was
sent
like
him one message.
little too. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, playing Game Boy and shit on the
Yeah.
bus going down to Florida.
No,
I want to get. I'd like to get Berkeley on. I messaged him not too long ago.
hey, he's got a
He said
reason to
he.
get on. That old boy, he's making moves with his business and
Yeah, I want to pick it. I want to pick his brain. I know he's like a little entrepreneur, and I know he trains dudes too.
he's got
Plus, he's
probably.
just good, good dude.
I love that guy. He came out and ran with the guys one day. Um, yeah, it was during COVID, I think. We were out on the football field. He's like, "What's up? What's up? Come out."
Those are the guys I'm talking about, though, right? Like they're kind of ducked off. They're not online a lot, but they're just grinding.
Yeah,
Head down, just doing it.
yeah. He's a pimp, man. I like that guy because he's making moves with Beast now, and yeah, he's trying to. He told me he started that whole thing during COVID off YouTube. He's like, I didn't know how to start a business, and I just started YouTube and stuff. Like that's like
Yeah, that's
self-made. Like
baller.
that guy's a good dude.
What is it? Beast now? Is that
Yeah,
it?
Beast now. Yeah,
Yeah,
Burke's a good one, man. He's a good one.
yeah,
I think he's
yeah.
got three
That's
guys
dope.
that he trained. Three guys? Three guys in the NFL? I think. I think he's got three. I know Quiddy Pay's one of
He
them.
he played with Johnny in that arena shit or the fan
Yeah,
oriented football or whatever,
yeah,
wasn't it?
XFL or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know if he was XFL one or if he was. I can't remember. But that guy's made for that league, dude. Like just twitch, just twitchy.
Welcome to remote podcasting. That's the second time. That's our QAT. They want us to get the fuck off here.
You're good. You're good. That was perfect. Couple beers, 2 beers, and just chopping it with a good guy.
That's all I wanted to do,
I don't
man.
know if there's any
Fucking number
electric
100,
topics
brother.
in there. Yeah, congratulations, guy. I know you're working hard at it. Willing to do whatever for you. That never changes. That's the truth.
Appreciate you, man.
Yep.
Listen, let's end it, man.
Yep.
What is it? What is it? CHS squad?
Yeah. I think there's an underscore in there. Let me see. Yeah, CHS underscore squad, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I'll put it in the notes. This will come out a week from the day, and yeah, be good, man.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I appreciate it. That man, I know you're grinding at this thing and you're doing it right. You're doing it right, no doubt. And this was different
Trying.
because there's no real agenda and I know that the hunting piece is a huge one and then the private training and stuff like that. So I appreciate you. This has been good.
Man. Like we queued it up, man. This one was for you and I.
Yeah.
So I want to do this. I don't care if not one person listens to it, but I wanted this to be 100.
Yeah. I appreciate that. It means a lot, guy.
You know that. Listen, I'll let you go. Stay on the line. I'm gonna cut this, and we'll bullshit for a second
Okay.
and bounce.
Absolutely.
Thanks, brother.
Yep. Thank you, sir.